landfill on Clap Mill Road. One is general. So, is anybody here that wants to talk to the board other than about the landfill? Because I've got names on both papers. Okay. Let's just start here. Eugene Robertson, Jack Creek Trail.
Mr. Chairman, you'll want to officially make a motion to go into public hearing prior to hearing from the individuals.
We need to, hang on just a second.
Okay. I'm gonna make a motion to amend the agenda and respect these good folks' time to move item 1, their new business, filthy landfill public hearing, to the first order of business.
Mr. Chair, I hate to be the person to say this, but I don't think we can legally hold the public hearing because per the UDO, the notice of a public hearing must be provided per NC General Statute 160D-406B, which is incorporated herein. And that statute states that mailed notice of the hearing be mailed to the applicant, property owner, if not the applicant, all owners of all parcels of land abutting the parcel of land subject to the hearing, and any other persons entitled to receive notice as provided by local development regulation. In the absence of evidence to the contrary, the local government may rely on the county tax listing to determine owners of property entitled to mailed notice. The notice must be deposited in the mail at least 10 days, but no more than 25 days prior to the date of the hearing. Within that same time period, the local government shall also commonly post a notice of the hearing on the site that is the subject of the hearing or on an adjacent street or highway right-of-way. If I'm reading the mailed notice, the certified mail receipts, notice was mailed October 2nd. That's 43 days prior to the date of the hearing. And if I'm reading the posted notice, that was 28 days prior to the date of the hearing. That alone, I believe, if we continue with the hearing tonight, it puts us in jeopardy if someone were to present a legal challenge. And I hate to be the one to say it. And this was not I don't believe this was the applicant's fault. It's a function of the UDO, the way it's written.
Okay.
I will put that to the board and we can go from there. I'm sorry again.
So we'll get a response from the legal department, hopefully.
I'll interject one item as well. If you look at the public hearing and notice requirement under the heavy industrial ordinance, it seems to give conflicting advice. If you look at, so this is 6.5.4 B under intent to construct permits. Item 1 is public hearing notice. Item 6 also states that the notice of the public hearing shall be mailed to the applicants, to the property owners and residents identified above at least 21 days prior to the public hearing. So it seems that the applicant has conflicting guidance, both between 10 and 25 days prior to the hearing, but also at least 21 days prior to the hearing. General Statute 160D-406 also spells out the procedures for a quasi-judicial hearing. This is not a quasi-judicial hearing. This is a public hearing. So, Michelle, I hate to give you all that, but it does seem like we have some conflicting guidance here on the nature of the regulations.
And we incorporated the 406B, it appears just for notice sake. I don't know the history or anything when this was done. The notice, of course, we're making sure we notify all of the adjoining property owners. We're making sure we notify anybody else under local regulations that have to be notified. So the only issue are the number of days. And with the inconsistency, did we post the notice too on site?
The notice was also posted on site. And the date of email confirmation we got for that was October the 15th. that to you right before the meeting started. The 21 day. Oh, I did.
I would say we need to take this public hearing so we make sure that the proper notices have been sent out, because I've gotten phone calls and a lot of folks have told me that they didn't know nothing about this was even taking place. And, so I think maybe we should table this and re-notify and make sure that the public is properly notified.
I think there's a lot of people that come up here to speak tonight.
I understand that, but
I don't think it's right to say y'all gonna have to come back.
that's
I don't disagree with what you're saying. If people don't know, I get that. However, somebody knows.
Room full of folks that know.
And the people that notified you, they now know. They're not you.
a lot of them were saying, you know, they just found it out, you know, and they were gonna be here tonight. So,
Mr. Chairman, I think in light that the decision that we make here tonight is not necessarily binding, it would have to be to the county commissioners, I would recommend we continue on with the hearing. That's my motion.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. So we got a motion and a second to continue with the public hearing. Does everybody understand what we're getting ready to do? All in favor, aye? Opposed?
Nay.
hey,
Ain't this just beautiful? Okay, so it sounds to me, all right, let's see, raise your hand. All in favor, aye, raise your hand. Three. Opposed, raise your hand. Two, okay, 3-2. So I don't have to break a tie. So we're still gonna have a public hearing. All right, now, need to amend the agenda.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll go back to my original motion a moment ago to amend the agenda to move item 1 under new business, Philippi landfill public hearing, to the first item under consideration this evening.
On amend the agenda, we're gonna do this first.
That way you don't have to sit here through the stuff we're working on.
I'll second that motion.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor, aye? Opposed? Good. Now, need a motion to call this public hearing into, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Need a motion to call this a public hearing?
Yes, sir.
I'll make that motion.
Right, so we got a motion, need a second on the public hearing.
Second.
All right, motion to second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Now, 15 minutes later, this board wants to hear from every person here. We want to know what your position is, how you feel. We only want to hear each position one time. So if there's a half a dozen people that feel like tree leaves shouldn't be green, great. Y'all decide who's gonna tell us that they shouldn't be. We don't need to hear it 6 times. The rule is 3 minutes, and I'm compelled to relax the 3-minute rule so that while you're telling us what we need to know, we can hear you. Now, if it gets on 15 or 20 minutes, we're probably gonna ask you to tie it up. And the last thing is we're gonna be civil. Like if your mama was sitting there with you. Cause there's been some meetings in this room and some with the planning board that kinda got on the edge. So, is there any questions about the rules for this evening? No.
I have a question.
Yep.
Are you gonna explain anything further than what we received, or are we just asking questions today?
Well,
knowing that a lot of us did not receive anything.
okay, let me defer to the planning director on that.
Yes, sir. So I've got a bit of a staff report that I'm happy to read at the outset, and we can bring the site plans up on the screens in the room as well.
Okay. Does that answer the question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Let me make sure I've got the right thing. There we go, okay. I'm hoping everyone can see that. Ready?
You wanna do that first?
I think it would be, if they would like some information prior to speaking, I'm happy to do that first.
Okay, so we just pause on
It's part of the
Part of
public
it.
hearing.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
all right.
Can he explain in detail how this will be conducted tonight, the action this board takes, the next step in the process, and then the action that the council will take, commissioners will take, excuse me, and the criteria for approval?
Probably he or I, either one can, but he's
Yeah,
the
that's,
director. I'll let
that's
him-
part of the report. Yes, sir.
All right, very good.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Applicant Kenneth Philippi has submitted an intent to construct permit application, site plan, and related documents with the intent of constructing an inert debris landfill on the property located at 4115 Clap Mill Road in Burlington, otherwise found at tax parcel ID 105192, a property totaling approximately 97 acres in size. Inert debris landfills are regulated as Class 1 uses under the Alamance County Heavy Industrial Development Ordinance in Article 6, Part 5 of the Unified Development Ordinance. As such, they are subject to a 10-acre lot size minimum, an operation setback of 150 feet, a stream setback of 100 feet, among other regulations. There is no required land use spacing, however, for a Class 1 development. Along with the intent to construct permit, Mr. Philippi has submitted a site plan and related documents demonstrating Phase 1 and Phase 2 areas of operations, a 150-foot operation setback, an NCDOT email confirming driveway package approval, a 100-foot stream buffer, an existing vegetation landscape buffer, a 6-foot tall perimeter fence with a locking gate, a lighting plan, and an approved NCDEQ erosion control permit, as well as a letter regarding subsurface groundwater investigation. As the planning board, your role tonight is to conduct a public hearing and to determine if this application complies with the requirements of the Heavy Industrial Development Ordinance, Article 6, Part 5, as I mentioned earlier. If you determine that it does, you will make a recommendation of approval to the county commissioners for their final review and/or approval. If you determine that it does not, you shall issue a written determination for the reasons why and deny the application. And with that, I'm happy to answer any other questions you might have before you hear from the public.
In the event of a denial, what happens at that point?
So the only clarification the ordinance gives is that it must be in writing. I would assume that the applicant would have the opportunity to amend the intent to construct permit and related documents to reapply and seek a recommendation of approval.
Any other questions from the board?
And our only job is to make sure this crosses the T's, dots the I's, and in line with.
Yes, sir.
So, to the public, one, thank you all for coming. I and we appreciate y'all coming up here to talk to us, to tell us how you feel and why. Does everybody here understand what he just said about this board's responsibility? Okay. All right. Well, in that case, and you're good with, okay. All right. So now we ready to start with the public hearing? Hearing from the public?
I have a question. So if he dots the Ts and dots the Is and crosses the Ts, even if nobody in here wants it, that has no weight as long as he passes this.
Now that you phrased it that way, and thank you, yes.
Sorry, comments.
This board has been struggling for some years now to get some traction in this county to create some protections for the agricultural parts of the county. And so far, all the governing board has heard from is people in the development realm. We as a board have worked multiple years. The staff has spent innumerable hours, and every time it comes up for a real hearing, all they hear from is always, bad, you can't do this, blah, blah, blah. When that's fine, because that's what this stuff's about. Where Alamance County has been for a long time is not gonna have somebody tell me what I can and can't do where I pay the tax. And that's when I first come up here 20 plus years ago, I thought that because I had been taught that. And I've come to learn that there's only one thing worse than zoning. Anybody want to take a guess what it is? No zoning. That's exactly right. It's like living in America. It's the worst place in the world to be, except for all the others. And it's kind of sad that we got to work through and get where we are that way, but we have, and that's where we are. So that the county doesn't have a matter of fact, you can do this here, you cannot do this here, but you can do this here. That we cannot do that. Here's where we are. Now, my personal opinion about this is, since it's not in my backyard, not a big deal. I can stand on my mother and daddy's porch and see the other one and been looking at it for 40 years or right there at it. So it's just the way it is. Does that answer your question? Are we ready to take 4?
I do think that there's a lot of misinformation with what's actually happening right now, what's already been happening too. So if we can just clarify what operations are already taking place, have been taking place for months now, however long it's been now, to how this is going to change those operations. What it looks like now, we already know. What's it gonna look like going forward?
You want to address that, Mr. Engineer?
Can I put my hat on? Hey, cover. Can I come on? Well,
Is this going to be limited to 3 minutes?
3 minutes. I'm gonna do my best.
It's up to the chairman.
Okay. So the operations that have been going on have been,
Introduce yourself to everyone.
I'm sorry, I'm Jesse Wilson.
Sorry.
I don't have a mic,
Just, yeah. go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Jesse Wilson, Wilson Engineering Group. I've been working with Mr. Phillippe on the landfill now for quite some time, and we've tried to go through all the regulatory hoops and do it in accordance with all of the permits that are available through North Carolina's Division of Environmental Quality, those being the erosion control people, those being the Department of Cultural Resources, those being the Division of Waste Management, and also Alamance County, who's been excellent to work with, by the way. And so the traffic that you're seeing right now, is that the question? And how will it,
Not necessarily traffic, I mean, what the operations are currently, because you said phase 1, phase 2, what phase are we in, like
Okay.
what are we seeing that's changing? It's not just the traffic.
Fair enough. So here's, let me give you just a simple plan of this. This is a borrow pit first. So we have trucks coming in that can handle 10 or 12 cubic yards. A cubic yard is a 3 by 3 by 3 of dirt. And they're taking it to a place that might need dirt. So Mr. Phillippe's digging the dirt, and of course that creates a hole. Now, those same trucks are clearing, because this is an LCID, it's land clearing inert debris. That's what this stands for, okay? So Mr. Phillippe is the guys that are clearing are bringing some of that debris, tree stumps and other things that can't be burned either inside of a city limit or it's just too much. And the hole that he creates by giving them to earth is going to be filled with the inert debris and the land clearing activity. Those activities have been going on in another landfill nearby. And so what's happening here is we're basically splitting traffic, and he's availing himself to a lot more borrowed dirt. This is going to be more of a longevity operation than it is going to be a volume increase. So what you're seeing now, as we understand it, is basically what you're going to see, except split between two landfills. There's Smithfield, North Carolina, Johnson County, a gob of dirt that you can move out of this landfill, which means there's going to be a large hole that can receive land clearing activity and inert debris. But the operations as they are now are not, you're not going to see like a volumetric increase because there's an additional landfill. Actually, what's happening right now at the one landfill, which has plenty of borrowed dirt now and plenty of room for fill, it's not even close to being retired, is simply splitting now so you can begin the landfill operation, because this is more of a generational business that's going to continue, I'm sure, past Mr.
Destroy
Phillips.
the rest of the community, that's what's gonna happen.
Pardon?
It's gonna continue to destroy the rest of the community, that's what's gonna happen.
Can I answer
His
that?
residents were here first.
Can I answer that? This property is on, is it 90 acres, 30 of which will be the landfill. That property is buffered with a 150-foot vegetated buffer. It's going to be surrounded by a 6-foot fence. The only thing that's going to happen that might be different is traffic going in and out of a driveway. Otherwise,
Ask how many of these people are scared to leave their driveway every day?
I live on that
They
driveway.
get pulled
Who
off.
can't walk on the road because the dump trucks are
People
all
are scared
over?
to death to travel the road.
Okay,
Have you driven down the road and seen the traffic?
I was here to address the question of volume and increase. No, I don't live on the road, and I'm unaware of what you're experiencing there. I'm sorry.
I have one question, not for the engineer, but for the zoning people here. Was there a permit necessary for all of this dirt to be removed, and how much are we talking about?
Ask that question again, please.
I said, is there a permit needed to remove the quantity of dirt that has been removed, that they're wanting to refill again with inert debris? And how much of it was removed?
So this is the application process to establish the inert debris landfill.
Correct, but what I wanna know is you're saying that, he said that dirt's been removed.
No, that hasn't yet.
Well, actually, that's true. There has been a permit issued for that. It's with the North Carolina Division of Environmental Quality's Land Management, and it's an erosion control permit, so that none of the eroded runoff leaves the property, but is maintained in the erosion control measures that were approved and established in the permit. So as far as removal of anything, including trees or clearing, all of that was addressed with the erosion control permit with Division of Environmental Quality. Does that help? Not sure.
All right, so backing up, the traffic, that's a DOT issue. That is not a planning county issue. We understand, and candidly,
I've already written 2 letters to the DOT about that road. It's not a Philippi issue. There's a problem with that road.
correct.
But they go hand in hand. You have to have one.
You have to do the road.
You can't just allow
Yeah,
something
Bucky's
like
over
that
here
without-
and, say that they didn't create all that traffic on I-40 and 85 over there, are they?
Well, no, they're not gonna say that, but they're in a place where they got zoning. So. Yes, sir.
So a question, so we do live right across from it, and I'm not of the opinion of telling someone what they can and can't do with their land. I mean, I don't particularly like it. I spoke to Mr. Philippi about it, but I mean, it is, and he's gotta go through these right channels, and it is what it is. But I think all of us are just concerned about if there's a way we can improve the situation. It seems to me, because I'm right across from it, that Alamance County, Burlington City, Mebane are the primarily users. I mean, he has good business. Tractor, I mean, the dump trucks are in and out of there like clockwork every 5 minutes, right? So all our home values have went down and all. But at minimum, I would think that since the counties are what's using this, Alamance County, should pave that so all of us don't get all this rock, dust, and debris in our homes. The guy right in front of it, I mean, his HVAC is probably not gonna last a year. I mean, I don't know if you've ever ridden in a dump truck, but he has it graded so well that it, they don't go any slower down that road than they do down Clap Mill Road.
Like, we're hearing the fence, we're hearing the vegetation,
So it doesn't do
all that,
anything to solve
it makes
any
sense,
problem.
but it doesn't solve the bigger problems that we're actually experiencing.
I mean, I
Where
think
do we
that,
go from there?
yeah, I think Alamance County, if they're gonna use it so much, should pave it.
So with your hand up,
So if we're not gonna be able to put up oppositional comments, to change anything, or to come to any kind of terms as far as buffer changes or anything else, why are we having a hearing?
The ordinance requires it.
Are people gonna take the microphone one at a time so we can organize?
yeah, and we getting ready to start that.
Okay, good.
We need to there's 4 LCIDs there. Pike has one on Euless Road. They're all within a mile of each other. Kenneth has the one on Himesville, and then you have one near your mill, a small one that probably just mulches. Do these landfills do all the same function?
They're all titled the same, LCID.
Okay,
Foster
so they
Store
just take
Road is
inert
over
material
150
and
acres.
rock and brick. And is there, and as this pit develops, is there gonna be massive burning? Are you gonna have air curtain burners to get rid of the particulate matter? How's that gonna be?
These 3 sites all exist within 1 square mile, the Philippi sites.
Right, yes, they do, and Pike's,
And I'm right in the
as far
middle.
as the crow flies, this is another mile.
And it's
There's
easy for
4
the guys
sites
that don't
within-
live in the area to say
Right.
it'll be just inert matter, it doesn't matter.
Right,
It's-
but
it's
are we
my
burning
backyard.
this stuff, are we burying this stuff?
They're burning
I wanna
it now.
ask the engineer, how does this pit work? You're testing the water, you're putting in water monitoring wells to keep our groundwater in check, you got liners.
I don't think you got to have liners in
I mean, I can address that if you'd like.
Okay,
I mean, what are we dealing with?
well, so what we're dealing with is a public hearing. So we're, thank you. These are well-made points, concerns. But we're gonna get started with the public comments so that Mr. Robertson, if he's still here. Okay,
I'm gonna echo about what everybody just said, so.
all right. So we've already heard it.
Pretty much.
Okay. All right.
And like we've just heard from your gentleman sitting up here, it really doesn't make any difference this evening, because all you're doing is making sure the i's are dotted and the t's are crossed on the application.
Yep.
So where will public comments make a difference? The county commissioners meeting? Figured.
I have a question about the permit that you had read earlier, and I wasn't clear on this. The current,
We'll find out,
the current
don't worry.
landfill on Kimesville Road has a special permit for the incinerator that they use. It's on file, correct? Okay.
Yes, it is.
It is, it's on file. It was a
In the
special,
contract.
it was a secondary permit upon getting that landfill started. This landfill, in connection to the comment that was made, have they already applied for a permit for this certain type of incinerator? There's a certain title for it? Is that something that you also control?
There's an incinerator currently on the property.
The incinerator permit is mobile.
Mobile incinerator.
It is mobile.
Under
So
the,
you
under
can move the
the,
It's a
incinerator from
permit
one to
based
the
on
other?
the piece of equipment.
under the NCDEQ permit you mentioned
Yeah,
earlier.
it's an air quality permit.
So does that mean they can get another one, so that you can have one going on each side less than a mile apart? So that all the people that live in the middle are gonna be dealing with that smoke?
Right.
How and when was that approved, and who was notified about that?
I was not part of that approval process, but I'm just aware of it. So I wasn't part of it. I understand it, but let me go back to water quality for a second, if I might. So the requirements by NCDEQ's Division of Waste Management for an LCID landfill are that you have to be 4 feet minimum clearance above an existing groundwater table. So the aquifers are protected by a 4-foot clearance minimum, and we've done test pits, and we are well above any groundwater.
But you're gonna excavate how much dirt? You spoke about this being a long-term borrow.
I mean, I'm speaking off the top of cuff, I mean, you know, 500,000 yards over time.
Now, how deep is that, how close does that get to the water?
Again, it will not be close to the groundwater table from the preliminary test pits we've done. But when we go through division of waste management, we will do a more extensive study, and we will adjust as necessary to make sure that we're a minimum of 4 feet above the groundwater table. Those are the requirements that we're asked to go through.
Do you wanna?
Sorry, what?
The regulation has been, I've met trucks out there at 9, 10 o'clock at night that bring it coming in to pump out at the other location. I mean, there's no hours of operation restriction. I mean, I've witnessed it for the last 10 years. I mean, they burn anytime, every time they want to. I mean, anyway, so educate us, if somebody, the applicant could educate us on what is currently being conducted on the property. There's trucks going in and out of here all the time, and they're burning something. And everyone around here is going, how did they get a permit to burn? What are they currently? We don't know.
So
Okay,
if y'all would prefer to not have the public hearing tonight, that's no problem.
Okay, can we be part of the public hearing? I think everyone here wants to understand what is the current update. I mean, that would be a great place to start, and then we'll move into what they're finding.
Okay, so we don't wanna have a public hearing. Am I hearing this right? No. We just wanna have a round robin forum.
That's what I need to do. Is that the?
I think everybody feels since their comments don't matter, what's the point?
Right. Well, no, if we could get educated on what his current operation is, that would be a great place to start. Because air quality and the protection of air quality is one of y'all's charges as the commissioners.
So the way this works, and I'm absolutely 100% at fault here, because I've let it kind of drift out of control. But each person, call their name, they come up, they tell us what their perspective is. And then the next person comes up, and we listen, and we listen, and we listen. And when everybody's spoken their piece, then we discuss it and we move on. Now, as a courtesy, thinking it was the right thing to do to kind of let people ask some questions and have some authoritative answers given, that's where we are. But time's drifting away, so we either need to get back on track or not. Are we all in agreement to get back on track?
Yes.
Okay.
All the names.
I'd like to know, because I think my feelings right now, what's the objective here? Just to hear everybody speak and that's it? We're done? I mean, what is the objective, the outcome of where we are today?
Are you talking about the objective for this board?
This meeting.
For this meeting?
This whole hearing, us being here and us talking, I would hope and think that we have an objective.
Well,
Resultant.
I think I can respond to that at least on a level. I think there's a group of people whose objective is to tell this board how bad this is so that we deny the permit and tell the commissioners to deny it, and he's out of business tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock.
Well,
I think there's another group of people here who want to tell this board how good this is and what a great idea it is, so that we suggest the commissioners approve this permit and he continues on like he's doing. Have I left anybody out?
But that's personal objective. I'm talking about the big picture of why we're all here. And we're interfacing with you, and you're running the board here, and we're trying to get our point across on how we feel. And that when we adjourned tonight, what did we gain by it? What was the outcome?
You want me to respond to that?
Yeah.
I can.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I can.
Excuse me, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, sir. Matthew Hoagland. I'm the planning director for the county.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. We wasn't
So.
sure what you're asking.
Yes, sir. So I'll answer the question maybe in a procedural manner
Yeah.
with regards to the nature of the public hearing, and the chairman mentioned this earlier. Most other jurisdictions throughout North Carolina have official zoning, and the process like this would be that the applicant applies for a rezoning of the property in order to, you know, for example, take it maybe from a residential district to maybe like an industrial district. That process is a little more official. There may be more discretion. There is more weight to the public comments that go into what is ultimately a legislative decision where the county commissioners officially change the map to accommodate the new use. Alamance County does not have zoning. And so we have the procedural public hearing, but there's not really any weight to the public comments as long as the applicant can comply with all of the aspects of the regulation. And perhaps they try and have to revise. Perhaps it takes a while. But as long as at the end of the day they comply with all of the aspects of the regulations, they would get their permit.
So we.
So I know that's a
doesn't have
procedural
much weight,
answer.
is what you're saying.
If they comply with all aspects of the regulations, that's
So
correct.
it's just,
You could,
saying-
if you want
it's just
to.
saying that you had your day in court kind of thing, and that was it.
Yes, sir.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Public sentiment matters. It matters. These gentlemen.
Well, I think the turnout speaks for itself, and I would
It does.
go along with what,
So let's start
you know,
with yours.
Mr. Chief said, is that, you know, I don't know how many people would, in here, I mean, we could just stop right now and take a vote, how many people are in favor, or how many people are not. I mean, we could all repeat the same thing over and over again, and think everybody's read some kind of flyer or something, and we realize, I think, we've all been on this earth. We know that when you have residential neighborhood and something else comes in, that is gonna create noise, whatever, smoke, debris. How can anybody say, oh, I want that?
And of course, the other side of that coin's also true. That is, when you've got a big dairy farm and you build a residential neighborhood beside it, and they clean off the milking parlor and push it out in that lagoon, you know, who wants that?
Yeah.
But it do happen.
But if the dairy farm was there first and I built a house beside of it, I know what I'm getting into.
Well, there's
If
that.
I build a house first and then something comes in beside of me, that's a different story.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Pam and Bob Gaude, G-A-U-D-E. Okay.
I didn't know where I was signing, because I haven't heard anything about this, I just saw a sign on the road.
Okay.
So we're here, and a neighbor called me and told me it was here, so I know nothing about it, that's why I'm hearing it for the first time.
Okay. Well, has that pretty much told us what you had to say?
Yeah, cause I'm just listening.
Okay.
Learning.
All right. Jesse, who is an engineer.
That's me.
That's you, okay. Well, I'm gonna check you on. Caleb Hall, engineer. Okay. This is going faster than I thought. Kelly Klein.
You know how I feel right here.
Okay. Thank
I
you.
mean, I will say that, you know, I've lived there for 20 years, and the traffic is horrendous, the road is in terrible shape, so we do need to get the DOT involved. If you're gonna allow it, we need to make sure that we have better access,
Okay.
you know, to walk and in our community. It's a residential area, we were here first, I'm aghast that you allowed us to run that.
Okay. Need you to come up here to the speaker, to the podium, and tell us who you are and where you live. Robin Hall.
I'm with him.
Okay. Mark Hall.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay.
Okay, I'm Mark Hall, 3462 Highway 62 South. I'm not directly adjacent to the property. One thing I do see is our property, that entire stretch about to where this landfill is, it doesn't perk very well. So they may have a 4-foot buffer between that and the water table. One thing I do see is the water table, it rises and lowers very much in this area, probably more than I've ever seen. So if, whatever the wood breaks down to, the inert material, it will let off toxins. I do know that. And then also there's going to be asphalt and other debris that comes in. If we happen to get a load that is toxin, toxic, and they cover it over. We get a rain shower on it before it covers over. This land does not perk. It shouldn't. I don't think it will. That's the reason he bought it. This is going to suck that. This is going to pull that down into the water table, and it's very fractured rock in this area, so it will pull it down into the water table. I do know that, and I have seen that. I've seen that a lot in that area, how it goes up and down. So that's pretty much what I'm concerned about.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Danielle Boulay or Boulette? Boulay, okay.
My name is Danielle Boulay. We have a house at 4035 Clap Mill Road. My parents are living in the house, so I don't get to see and experience everything that everybody else is seeing. But of course, we're worried about the environmental impacts and the property value impacts that it can impose.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Raymond Moore III. Or Trey.
Trip.
Trip.
Yeah, that's what everybody knows me as Trip. So we live at 4260 Jacks Creek Trail, which our property is going to back up adjacent to where the actual landfill is projected to go. So my main concern is the water, as everybody else was saying, because I'm really not sure about the water table, but he was kind of explaining a little more. So that, the air quality, and also, if you've ever been down Clap Mill Road, it's not a very truck-friendly road. So I used to drive a truck. The trucks aren't making any money if the wheels aren't turning. So are the drivers inept to go on those back roads like that? That's not for me to say, but the trucks aren't making any money if they're not going. So I'm opposed to the landfill.
Thank you. Whitney Yao?
Love?
Okay. Whitney Love. 4272 Jack Creek?
Yes.
Okay.
Same concerns as everybody else. It's kind of sad when you come outside and it's burning so bad to where it looks like it's snowing ash on top of your house. So what's going to happen when one of those burning ashes falls on my roof? So I'm going to have to file a homeowner's claim, and it's going to go against me, and then my rates are going to go up. That's not very fair. Plus I have small kids. It's just it's not right, and I think that people need to have instead of it being about money, let's put the heart back in it. Let's have compassion, because if anybody else was in our shoes and it was your family and your kids, you would feel the same way that we do. So yeah.
Thank you.
Sir, you called my name but didn't give me a chance to come up. Robin Hart.
I'm sorry.
I live at 4565 Cobb Road. We're at the far end of the property. It's come to our attention that the people who are proposing this landfill have purchased over 250 additional acres around or I don't know if it's in total, it's 250 acres. So it makes one think that he has plans for other things like this on this property. I believe the Stinking Quarter Creek flows through that portion of the property, and as you all know, the rain has been pretty, when it does come lately, it comes in great quantities. And much like what this gentleman has been talking about, it's flooding. We've had tremendous flooding going on in this property and in this area. We're only about 18 acres away from his property. And I'm almost certain that it's going to get into the creek. And other people have clear-cut areas adjacent to this property, so there's not as much drainage as there has been in the past. 100 acres here, 30 acres here. I think that maybe at this stage of the game, Alamance County, with you, starting right here with you gentlemen, think about what you're doing for the future of the county with something of this nature. and figure out if there's some way that you can back off from approving something like this and really do some study as to what the effect is going to be. It's very beautiful countryside. And, just because we don't have the same process right now, maybe it's time to put that process in place. So we're hearing from all of these people, they filled the courtroom or whatever this room is to express their concern about this going through. So thank you very much for listening.
Please accept my apologies for
It's okay.
mispronunciation.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right, thank you. And while we're getting ready to move on to the next one, this board is currently revising the Unified Development Ordinance, which Matthew referenced when we first started about there being some confusion about the public hearings. At least 21 days, not less than 10, not more than 25, need to tell folks, good idea, whatever. So, and that process has been going on now 2 years?
Since January 2024.
Okay, year and 11 months. Cute.
But it got postponed because we were working on a zoning proposal.
Yeah, we just had a bunch of stuff, and what we was gonna do tonight probably not gonna happen either. But at the end of the day, all of this is being incorporated into fixing these issues, resolving this stuff, and getting it to where it's supposed to do like it's supposed to. We'll see. But anyhow, okay. Leslie.
Leslie Clare.
Say-
Leslie Clare.
Okay.
I live at 4515 Regulator Drive. This is a dead-end road right off of Pratt Mill.
Yep. Behind the
Literally,
church.
yeah, literally half, not even a half mile. So I have to revise my notes a little bit, but let me start by saying I oppose this proposal, this permit. I've lived at this address for over 25 years, and I've seen a lot of changes in Alamance County. Some good, some bad. But I am one who supports growth and good business. And I even recognize that sometimes that requires sacrifices on its citizens if we want to do continued growth in our county. This proposal, this permit is a sacrifice too far. There's already 2 landfills in close proximity of each other, and you're adding a 3rd landfill. The existing landfill at 4301 Kimesville Road is over 21 acres, and the existing landfill at 3736 claims to be 5 acres. It's already been mentioned that this proposal at 4115 is close to, I guess, 75 acres, but the engineer says it's going to be about 50 acres. But there's 4 landlocked parcels right behind 4115 that amounts to over 150 acres. I think the lady had given that number out to you guys. So what is the assurance that we're not going to start filling up landfills all across the back acres there? You know, it's his land, he can do what he wants, but we live in the area. Other concern here is not just this landfill, this is southern Alamance. And I'm sure you guys know this already, but just within 1 square mile, if this proposal is accepted, we'll have 3 landfills. Yeah, they're inert, but inert's relative. But just 1.26 miles south, the 54-acre parcel, that's also a land LCID. It's about 54 acres. 3.3 miles northeast of this lot is a 17-acre 4337 South Highway 49, the Hinshaw LCID. You go 3.54 miles south by southwest in southern Alamance, there's over a 150-acre parcel on 5833 Foster Store Road that is an LCID. So the question is, are these getting full? Is that why we need more landfills here? Southern Alamance has got, I just named 4 of them, and you're going to add a 5th one. How many more landfills does Southern Alamance need? That's my concern. Another concern I have here has been mentioned is the water quality, so I won't rehash that. Third concern is infrastructure. You appropriately said we need to contact DOT. So as a tax-paying citizen, I guess I'm left to drive on the crappy roads caused by the dump trucks. My fourth concern was air quality issues. But let me just end this by saying that people move to the Alamance area. And we love this county. I've lived here 25 years. I call it home. It's peaceful. It's rural. It's conservative. The expectation is that we will eventually get neighbors. We understand housing development's growth. We'll have neighbors. We'll have the barking dogs. We'll end up with the occasional, four-wheelers and RTVs and whatever else running around. That's okay. That's part of life. But I wasn't expecting landfills surrounding my property within 1 square mile. I'm in equidistance from these landfills. I'm kind of in the middle of this whole thing, and I don't like it. I'm sure that my colleagues at Jack's Creek bought their homes with the idea that they would have this rural experience as well, and now they don't. They have an industrial landfill next to them. So my recommendation to this group, reject the proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Cindy Becker?
I'm just listening.
Okay, thank you. Brent Lineberry?
Hey guys, my name's Brent Lineberry. I live at 4288 Jacks Creek Trail. Of some of the most recent parcels that Mr. Philippi has bought is on 2 sides of my property. So if it ever grew beyond where it's currently at, I'm going to be surrounded by landfill. So a lot of these people have already voiced a lot of concerns that are here on my talking points. My concern is from Alamance County is why hasn't there been an impact study done? And in that impact study for air pollution, noise pollution, everything else, everybody that's in this room or people that aren't in this room should have been notified correctly based on that study. The fact of, I'd say probably 70% of the people here have conflicting information of what we're here for tonight is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I also take concern that the notifications that were sent out were certified letters to people that were adjacent to the parcel, which Mr. Philippi owns multiple parcels. The other notification that we got were signage by the road. We just had a local election. That is not a way to sit there and try to get a neighborhood to understand what's going on. As far as noise pollution, I hear dump truck tailgate slamming all day long. I hear grinding. I hear wood chippers. It's nonstop all summer. As far as air pollution, I'm dealing with the same thing everybody else is. Smoke inside my house, outside my house, burning for multiple days, and ash everywhere. Water pollution, the gentleman spoke about the water table. I don't know, but that is my concern as well because my property has creeks on both sides of it. I also have horses, so any of these loud sounds or whatever could trigger them. So that's also another concern. We also have wild turkeys and deer in the area. I'm worried about economical impacts as far as wildlife is concerned. And then everybody said local traffic. Clap Mill has so many blind ridges and blind turns, and it's not a very wide road to start off with. I almost get run over 2 or 3 times a week just because somebody's driving down the middle of the road. And I don't want a 70,000 or a 70-ton vehicle coming at me on my own street. Another thing nobody stated is property values. I have issue that there is no signage on the existing Philippi LICD, there's no signage to even let you know if you're a home buyer in the area that that's a landfill. There's no signage at the current property that we're talking about tonight. If you're coming to Alamance County and you're looking for a home, we live in a new neighborhood. How are you supposed to know if you're a home buyer that these are in your area? Again, I'm sure that this is great. I'm worried about the visual buffers, the property line buffers as far as natural foliage and that kind of stuff being left alone. So the last thing I want to do is walk off my back porch and see heavy equipment and stuff in my backyard. So I am definitely opposed to this, and I understand that our comments probably aren't really worth a whole lot of weight tonight, but I will fight this.
Thank you for sharing. Lee Kimmer?
Chair, I apologize. I wanted to speak on a later item, so I can hold my comments till then.
Okay.
Thank you.
John McCarthy?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to take just a slightly different approach. My wife and I just moved here from California 6 months ago. We looked at homes down in Trinity and other places, but we were fascinated by the homes being built, the new homes in Jacks Creek, the woods, the history of the battleground. And we decided to purchase a home there. We left California, where we lived in the vineyards, and there was many historic things there, such as the missions. And prior to living in California, we lived in Salem, Massachusetts. And of course, the dark side of history, all of the things relating to the witch trials and things like that. We've been honored and very happy and blessed to be here, and we found the people extraordinarily nice. So it's not so much only about purchasing a home and then finding out shortly thereafter that there would be more landfills behind it. All of the places that we lived before in California, outside of San Francisco area, there are landfills. In Salem, outside of Salem, there's a town called Old Salem, which is now called Danvers. There is a landfill there. But they all come in off of major roadways and then go usually in an area without homes, kind of behind a hill, and that's where they operate, and they go in and out onto the main roads. They don't go through neighborhoods and small roads. And so everything is accommodated, everybody's pleased, and these valuable sites, which people are blessed to have. I mean, when you have a 250-year-old historic site at the entrance to Clap Mill Road, that's extraordinary. You do not have that in most parts of the United States. And so I go there almost every day. In fact, just as an aside, the other day I drove out of there and I was behind a truck. The truck was carrying stone, I guess, for somebody's driveway. The stones flew out of the truck and cracked the windshield of my car. And I thought, well, this is what you have to deal with sometimes. But as others have stated very eloquently, the road going in is just not really suitable for trucks and large vehicles. I mean, there are narrow areas and sloping areas, and I mean, it just seems like, why in the world wouldn't we be developing? And I'm not saying this is the responsibility of this organization. These may be state problems or city problems or county problems, but I'm thinking, in everywhere I can think of where there is development, where there are historic sites, there's work to develop things. I drive a long way here to go to a restaurant. There are no restaurants right where we are. there's no bed and breakfasts or other facilities that would bring people to the historic battleground. And yet the other night I was watching, Jeopardy! And Ken Jennings, the host, at the end of it said, and one final category for our questions is the American Revolution. And I thought, the American Revolution? We're talking about the battleground right here. They mentioned Virginia and Yorktown and other places. And I thought, why are we not developing this section? Why are there no restaurants? Why are there no places for people to stay so they can visit the battleground? Why are we putting in landfill? Not that we don't need them, but as I said, in all the areas I've lived, the landfills have been clearly separated, major access road to keep trucks off of the narrow roads. So my only comment, I now live on Jacks Creek Road. I'm very pleased to be here. But I very strongly urge you to be opposed to another landfill in such an area. It's just not suitable because of the historic value, the small roads. We need a different form of development. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We do need to hold a little closer to our 3 minutes. So, Mark, who is 4230 Clap Mill Road.
Matt. Yes, sir, Matt.
Matt.
Thank you. All right, I'll try to break this into sections. So I would like to, for everyone's behest, Matt Kirkpatrick, 4230 Clap Mill Road, and just give you a quick background. I'm in the real estate development business, so I understand ordinances, I understand land use, compatibility. Wherever you are, we try to be respectful of the residents and their desires, and these uses do not conform. If this is a heavy industrial use, it should be out by the airport or the interstate or somewhere where it's conducive, but it doesn't require any utilities, so it can be planted in the middle of a rural area that unfortunately doesn't have any zoning. So, but if we could start with what currently is the operation there? Because we see trucks, tractor trailer sized trucks are going in and out of there. We don't know what they're incinerating, they're burning material, but nobody really understands what they're burning and how they get the permit. And we can do it real fast because I want to move on. But everyone here is wondering the same thing. What really goes on in there? There's no signs that says personal property, no trespassing. It's a very secluded, restricted place, but there's a lot of truck activity. So can someone tell us what?
Mr. Wilson.
I wasn't part of the air quality permit procurement at all, so.
Okay, well, we'll take that up another time. That's another issue we ought to cover. Okay, but everyone you're gonna hear a lot of personal sentiment tonight. I grew up in the area. It's transformed primarily exclusively from the landfills. It used to be just tractors and people, residential traffic and pickup trucks. And now we've unfortunately had a landfill, and then I don't think it's regulated. I've met trucks out there at any time of the night and on weekends, and they burn all weekend, and I don't know who regulates. So that's something we really would like to cover. I didn't see it in 6.5. Who regulates it, when they regulate it, how often, who do they answer to? Is this gentleman, does he put a seal on it? Is he accountable for how much dirt comes out of there? All this has to be
regulated, right? Yeah, you're on time limits.
There seems to be no accountability.
Yeah,
Okay,
so you're on time limits. I'll try to answer very quickly. So in general, in the county, most non-residential developments have to go through our TRC process. At that point, we may say you got to comply with certain state or federal permits, or get an NCDOT driveway permit, something of that nature.
Do you go out and inspect?
If it is specifically listed as a classified use in the heavy industrial ordinance, that's when this process kicks in.
Okay, well, but who, as they operate, who goes out and checks on it?
Based on the nature of the activity, it will be state agencies.
State agencies, okay.
Yeah,
okay, so I wanted to say to everybody who is worried this is all for futile and is for naught. If you read the declaration, and the gentleman that planning, let me back up. I wanted to understand the technicals in the last day, and he said it's all in section 6.5. So if you read the preamble to 6.5, and the technicals are not very hard. It's proper buffer, distance to homes. It's very simple. The DOT, I think, made a big blunder on this one, but we're going to pursue that too. But the preamble and the declaration of this ordinance states heavy industrial development. Applicability. The following regulations of industrial development are adopted for the purpose of promoting the health, safety, and general welfare of the citizens of Alamance County. Now, I don't think, can anybody on this board tell me how this industrial landfill being planted in the middle of all these residents and all the resulting traffic and people that are scared to leave their home and go to the grocery store because of the traffic, how is it promoting the health, safety, or general welfare of the Indian citizens? Can anyone? I think we're missing Mac.
I can answer that.
No, I'm asking these gentlemen right here, because they're going to vote to support it or not. We don't have a vote.
I'll tell you what I'm gonna vote for. If it crosses all the T's and dotted all the I's on here, that's
Okay.
all I can.
Okay, so you don't-
I've been trying on this board since
Okay.
I got here to
Okay.
get planning and zoning.
Well, that's
I've been
okay.
sitting up here all night listening to y'all. I mean,
Okay.
listening to everybody. That's what I'm here to do. I've been on this board 5-6 years. From the day I started, we started with zoning. It was about this thick. We had just got it.
Yeah.
We got it down to this right here. And they said, nope, we don't want zoning. Zoning is what stops this.
I agree. We'll all be back to that meeting.
We've got to get to the point where we've got land uses and zoning, everybody don't like that word. But we've got to get to that before we can stop stuff like this.
Whose decision
Because
was
this
But
just
does-
goes through the permitting process for us.
The question is, does anyone on this board believe this industrial use planted on a rural road that is already surrounded by 3 LCID landfills, that we don't know what the volume is? Nobody knows. Nobody's done, the impact study was excellent. That's an excellent thing to need to be done. But does anyone, any of you tell us how it promotes the health, safety, or general welfare?
And
For
can
the
you tell
residents?
us who decides?
No, this is for them to
decide?
answer. I thank you. But can any of you guys give us one example of how this promotes the health, safety, and general welfare?
I can't.
doesn't.
Would I want it there? No. Do I think
No.
it should be there? No. But I can't vote against it because it crosses all the I's.
Well, you can't, that's the proclamation. That's what the purpose of this ordinance. So there is a subjective nature to this other than just checking the boxes and submitting the profiles.
So
There is.
that applicability section is the rationale for establishing the regulations of the ordinance.
Okay, well, the placement of this use inside this residential area does not adhere to that. So that's the subjective nature of this, and we hope none of you can give us a reason why it's promoting health, safety, or general welfare. Well, you have the floor. Okay, so we hope you will not, yes, sir.
Generally, without these rules, which are minimal, there would be no rules. Everything would be regulated by the state or federal government. So this is the county's attempt.
And that may be better. I don't know. Maybe we
Well,
should.
they're involved anyway, but this is the county's attempt to establish some minimum ground rules. If you're gonna do this activity, these are the bare minimum rules. Not a maximum, but a minimum set of rules. And they're designed to meet this goal. Do they always do it? No, but could they be
Well,
improved?
It has to be
Possibly.
subjective to every condition. So
Yeah.
they're not going to, it's not going to promote the health, safety, or general welfare for these people that live adjacent to them and are burdened by it. And it appears no one really is going to be regulating it. I mean, he doesn't know how much dirt, nobody's going to check the depth of that water table as they cross section and take that dirt out of there. Nobody's checking the air quality. We don't know how they got an air quality incinerator. And this man can't even, I don't know how he lives in his house. Who's going to buy it? So that's, don't lose faith. I think that is our key to denying this, is the fact it does not promote the health, safety, or general welfare of the citizens. Not in this case. If it was out by the interstate, behind a big box industrial complex, it's not going to bother a lot of people. But in this case, it is extremely dangerous and extremely harmful in every way that's stated. Thank you. We hope you will deny it. Thank you.
Can I interject something here quickly? When you said you put all this work in, and I can say for myself, I
I didn't
appreciate
say
it.
I put them on. I said we've been trying to get zoning and planning ever since I got on the board, and we've been, it's a lot of work over 6-7 years.
Yeah,
so.
I appreciate it. That's what I'm
But
saying.
we've been trying to do that, and that is kind of the thing that stops and slows it to where we can make this go to the deep parts of the county to where there's no houses and stuff, but until we get to that.
Okay, now.
Well, you said when
Yeah,
you got down to the
went through
bottom
it.
that
Yeah.
they didn't want zoning. Who's they? Who was they? Who decided
Who stopped
no
you?
zoning?
Who
So
stopped
who was
you
that?
from
Like, who
completing
stopped you?
that task?
When y'all got to the bottom of that
The
list,
county commissioners?
When we get it ready to go,
We sent
it goes to the county, just like when we vote today, we've gotta vote.
So that's always the
They
stopping-
crossed all their they did. Then it will be a proposal that goes to the county commission.
But that's always your stopping block when it comes to all this effort you put in, that you push hard, but this is where you always get your hands tied. This is with the commission.
That's right.
Let's make that clear.
In every jurisdiction in the state of North Carolina,
Who's holding this up for being able to?
in every jurisdiction in the state of North Carolina, the governing board, whether it's the county commissioners, town council, has the ultimate
I
say-so.
know we kind of established that earlier, but I want to reaffirm that, given
Can I get the commissioners that are here to just identify themselves? Like, just, elections come up.
I'm right here, and I'll just tell you right now, I've been for zoning the whole time I've been on the commission.
Your name, ma'am?
Pamela Thompson.
Every time that issue comes up, all we hear from is from people who don't want zoning in Alamance County.
And that's the way the meetings was when I first got on this board. There was
100%,
nobody here
pretty
that
much.
wanted to hear about it.
People don't want zoning.
Everybody wanted to say, no, don't do it. You're telling me what I can do with my land. You're telling me what I can do with my land. Zoning is a whole lot about protections, not just necessarily telling.
Smokey, we had, back in 2019, I believe it was. Don't hold me to the year. I've been on the board now 7 years. My first year, when I was running, we were dealing with the Alamance aggregates.
Rock quarry.
We'd have no zoning in Alamance County. We proposed a small area plan. The snow camp area was really upset with what was going on. Not all of them, but some of them were upset with the whole issue of Alamance aggregates. So we proposed, considering, it was brought to us by the planning department to look at a small area plan and to consider small area plans for Alamance County. That's kind of a precursor to zoning. But to consider them, and the first one we would look at would be snow camp, because that's where there was a problem and that's where the most people were concerned. The planning department engaged a consultant who held a number of private meetings, or public meetings, to hear from the citizens, put together a plan. Seriously, when we had the presentation of that plan in the meeting, I was concerned for my life in getting out of there, because so many people were upset with the idea of a small area plan that simply outlined where things ought to be, not where they had to be, but where they might ought to be. I was really concerned that night. All I get is no zoning. Don't tell me what to do with my land. You heard it said up here earlier today. I don't want to be told what to do with my land.
But if I may ask, what's the definition of zoning? What is this?
What's the definition of zoning?
What is the definition of zoning?
Well,
when you use that terminology, the first thing you want to think about is, well, okay, we
the
want
best
zoning,
person
but we don't, but
to
what is it
explain the
we're asking
definition
for
of
with
zoning would be our planning director, who's a professional. I'm not the professional at that.
Because, I mean, if somebody argues they don't want it, I would ask them, you understand what it is?
Well, zoning, Matthew, I can kind of do a rough job, but I mean.
Go for it. I mean, it's going to be, a zoning plan is going to be specific jurisdiction to jurisdiction. If you live in Burlington, the zoning code there is going to be different than if you live in
Let's give
Medford.
us an example of our location where we all are, we're talking.
So broadly speaking, especially in rural counties, these types of areas are zoned residential and agricultural, so that you expect basically residential and agricultural type operations.
Which is our base right there.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and then where you have more cluster development, you may have a mixed use or allowance for commercial, things of that nature. But in an area like this, you would traditionally expect, especially in a rural county, a residential and agricultural development pattern.
The state statute doesn't allow the county to do any zoning that would regulate anything that's agricultural unless the owner of the agricultural property approaches us for a change. Now, that owner could be, for example, if a farmer wanted to sell his land for a residential subdivision, he might come and petition, if we had the zoning, to change it to residential, or he could sell the land and the new owner could do it. Most people buying land under that circumstance don't want to buy it until it's been rezoned, because they don't know how much opposition is going to come up to it. So why would they want to buy it if it's zoned agriculture if they don't want to run a farm, right? So it creates, there's nothing in this world that is perfect. Zoning is not perfect. It's not
But it's a
the
control
answer
device.
to everything.
Hopefully it's a control device for the good of all.
It's a way, you know, I live in Burlington. Does zoning bother me at all? No, I live on probably a third of an acre. Nobody tells me what to do with it, but everybody's doing the same thing I'm doing, you know what I mean?
And I'll add to that, I'm from Eli Whitney all my life. That's 10 miles down the road to Chatham, which has got a lot of big industry coming in it. And then if you cut the other way, go out Snow Camp, then you got Randolph County, which is Toyota. And don't be thinking when farmers retire, when they're offered millions of dollars for their property, that they're not gonna sell. And that's gonna really change Southern Alamance. So, ordinances sound really good, but I don't think they have a lot of weight. You need law. And that's why zoning is so important. I think the first time I come on in 20, the big deal, I can remember, it was like a copy and paste program, and it was talking about how tall your gazebo could be in your yard. And I thought, you know, that's not working it.
That's what I was talking about. We started with something about this because they were saying like how many, where your trees could be, and we had worked it down to about like this when it got
You
started.
really have to cater your plan to you. What works for Guilford is not here or anywhere else, and that's why you guys need to come to our meetings instead of when we have meetings about something that's just realtors, which is fine too, because everybody has a different goal. One person may want 100 acres to build a house every 25 feet, you know, because that's money. I like land. When I moved to Burlington, I thought, God, y'all live on top of each other. But it cannot be more important if you look at today's news, today's life, that your voice is so huge, you cannot let it get stifled. So if you feel this way, you know, we got a meeting Monday, 6:30, 7 o'clock, get up there for 3 minutes.
6:30.
I mean, they're real picky about 3 minutes. It's like they'll throw you out, so get rehearsed. But please come, because I didn't know about this, and I sure didn't know about ashes blowing through the sky and somebody burning something, and, you know, it's like I just told her about another issue. I don't know unless you tell me, and if you tell me, I'll come to you. So show up. It's like show up for your kids. Please show up. So you're welcome, and this is your building. So Monday at 6:30, please be here.
I mean, and is it even legal to burn this close to properties to where the ashes look like it? Like I come outside and my car is covered in ash like it has snowed outside. I mean, how is that even legal? I mean, seriously.
Well, from what I understand, this is a CDI landfill, is that right?
Yeah, LCID.
It's construction and demolition.
Inert debris, no.
Yeah,
Land
inert.
clearing.
They
inert
remove
debris.
stuff, anything, you look at some of the construction going on in the county right now, they have to have a place to put the debris. If you look at where the, whole nother issue, all the apartment complexes going up in Burlington, Graham, and Mebane, when they strip all that land, they've got to remove the stumps, they've got to cut a tree and leave a stump there because you can't build on it. So they got to remove the stumps, they got to pull all that stuff up and take it someplace. That's what these kind of landfills do. Now, if they burn it, to my knowledge, the Meridian Waste one over at the old coal landfill, they're not burning things.
My assumption is that's under the NCDEQ's air quality permit process.
That's what I understand, yes.
So, is this considered a commercial property?
Beg your pardon?
Is it considered a commercial property? The total property?
Commercial, it's not zoned.
Commercial
anything.
use,
It's
or
not
is it-
zoned anything.
We don't
Is he
have,
running a business?
usages outside in the
If
county.
you don't have zoning, you really can't call it commercial property, it's just property. If it's not a farm, it's pretty much nothing else in the county. When you put a business at an intersection, you're out in the county, you don't have water and sewer, you put a business where you can put a well, a septic tank, it's like you do a house.
Move on.
Sure. I'm here for you guys.
And definitely, if you have something you wanna say, come before us. I mean, if everybody stays home with the people who don't want zoning, that's all we hear.
Well, the reality is, everyone operates by urgency. This is major urgency. People are scared to go to the grocery, to leave their homes. Everyone I've talked to over the past 2 days, dozens, they said, I've had to ease off the road. I thought I was gonna get killed. Several times, on Clap Mill and on County. I saw the load shifting on this truck. I didn't know what to do. I just eased off the road. We're surrounded by these things. So everything operates on urgency. I'm sorry, you have another zoning hearing meeting, people will be here. We've got the message now, but the urgency is, whoa, hell, it wasn't advertised. I mean, the sign on the side of the street was as big as a small realtor sign. I mean, you have to stop. If you're brave enough to stop in that road and try to read a sign, you're gonna die. So,
Cell phone photo.
no one's aware of the fact that, so we operate on urgency. I think everybody here would agree, let's do a small area plan and restrict any more LCID landfills south of, east of 62 and south of 40. We'll come up with an area, but can we institute a small area plan to protect this community?
That's good. You can't,
It's an insane amount.
it would be up to the county commissioners to even propose another analysis of it. It cost us $60,000 to throw it in the trash.
Well, that's sad. So I don't know who would solve that.
I personally wanted to sue the guy that wrote the plan, because I felt like it was about got us killed.
The point is, my comment is this is real urgent and everybody.
Yes, and I have a generic question, it should just be a simple answer. Who's actually in charge of making sure the information gets out to all of the residents? Because I read the sign, we already knew something was going on. Mrs. Kirkpatrick called me, and I already knew, nobody else down the regulator, nobody had a clue. Who is in charge of sending out any mailings? And we know it's possible, because who doesn't get a political mailer? We should all be able to get informed on what's going on in the area. Our mail carrier should, who's in charge of it?
So the ordinance requires the applicant to actually engage in the public notification process.
And if he doesn't do it, who holds him accountable?
Well, the applicant is given specific instructions as to who
Exactly.
will receive, so it goes back to the ordinance and their directive. Right.
So the people that
So if
live
that's not,
on Platte Mill Road.
if that's not done, then that's deemed an incomplete application and the planning
Okay,
board.
so it's been an incomplete application because there's people living on Platte Mill Road and Regulator Drive. They're both roads, they never got information on any of it.
So the mailed notice is required to go to all adjoining properties. So if they're simply in the vicinity, but they don't immediately adjoin the property, they're not going to receive notification, other than the sign.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
We're so far outside of the realm of reality on your organizational plan for tonight's meeting. I'd like to make one other comment and then suggest that we get back on track, okay? Just to clarify for everybody as well, Alamance County and most counties in North Carolina do not do roads. DOT takes over roads. If they've been developed by, and I'm dealing with somebody with a road right now that's builder built and it's not the standards of DOT, a problem that he's gonna have to deal with. We do know the folks that do take care of roads, and I just spoke to you tonight earlier about your situation on your road. I will be glad to come down there, and I will be glad to bring some folks from DOT and stand there and talk to them about it while we're looking at it, okay? I've done that before, and I'll continue to do that. It's amazing how a call from a county commissioner to a regional engineer for DOT can get some attention to something. And that's part of Pam's job and my job. We're like ombudsman for our citizens. But if we don't hear about it, I hadn't heard a word about this road. Not one word. If we don't hear about it, we don't know. I don't drive every road in Alamance County every day. I drive an awful lot of them, but not all.
Well, you need to go on that one because the curves are almost meeting each other.
And I drive the same truck he does.
You have to stop, totally stop, that a dump truck comes by and get off of the road because they cannot possibly go that curve without crossing over the line. And so your life is in danger every time you meet one. And I have met them. And usually there's about 3 on the road. We need to describe what is really happening so that they can really understand. And I don't think they really, when they say all they got to do is, you know, if the applicant is dotted eyed or all this kind of stuff, that's not reality. Because in reality, I live very close to the landfill that's been there 10 years, Phillips, the first one. And I still get soot. I have breathed chlorine. Let's see, just the other day I opened my window.
You burn treated wood, it's chemical.
I opened my window and I had, when I wiped off my cabinet, the kitchen cabinet, it was full of soot. I had to use chlorine to get it. Now that's 10 years later. So somebody's not regulating what is going on. I've seen the dump trucks. I've seen GFL go in there. I don't know what they have in their truck. They are waste industries. I've seen them from Greensboro, all around. And this road is so small and so crooked, somebody's gonna get hurt.
Which one, Plant Miller?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I called the highway patrol out there. If it's on the Milk Road, I'd have the highway
You can't
patrol
do
send out
anything
there.
about it. They can't do anything about it except get trucks off the road. Out there.
Well, there are plenty of old roads in Alamance County. I've had to pull off the road myself and let somebody get by before.
But this is constant. This is every
Well, if you live
day.
on it, it's definitely gonna be constant.
Because and the driveways to the landfills are so, they don't have drain pipes under them. So the water runs out when it rains, and it runs down Johnsville Road, makes a big puddle. If it's winter time, it freezes, so we have ice on the road. Same thing is true, it runs into the bridge, because the one that they're proposing to have is right next to the creek and the bridge.
Right.
So it runs right into on the bridge, and you've got ice on the bridge.
That's a
Or
narrow
you've got
bridge.
mud on the bridge, or you've got
That bridge is poorly
dust on the
maintained.
bridge.
I'm not
And
sure if it's
the other thing I needed to say was, Mark mentioned you mentioned 4 feet away.
Be ready.
Well, I live with the stinking Porter Creek, and it runs, so this landfill is right next to that creek, and the streams and everything will go into the creek and go around. Now, when it floods, it is such a flood, it's way above 4 feet, for sure. I mean, so.
We have a resident on Alamance Road who's been doing the same thing to his own driveway. And I've reported that to DOT, they're supposed to be taking a look at it. But I mean, once we turn it over to DOT, it's their problem. We don't do roads in Alamance County.
My question is, the road is there to stay. The residents are there to stay. The landfill could be stopped.
Have you requested any modifications or whatever to the road? Have you talked to anybody at DOT?
Let's table this and work on that. Let's work on straightening the road.
Let's work on that issue, okay?
What can you do?
Well, let's table it and study it out and raise it.
And you've already done that. And I've already said we'll bring somebody from DOT out there and take a look at it.
Thank you.
Just give me a call. Before you leave.
I want to reiterate, we're kind of getting some ducks out of order here. Definitely, the road should have been addressed before any of this landfill was even considered. I wrote 2 letters to the DOT. I know who to talk, or who to write. I know that they're responsible and not the county commissioner. And I said, somebody's gonna get killed. Sure enough, somebody hit that embankment down there, and what did they do? They just put chevrons up. That's it. There was gravel down. They brought in a road grader. I told them, there's this gravel wash off. They bring in a big road grader. I said, oh, great, we're gonna get something done. All they did was brush the gravel off to the side and took off. I could have done that with a broom. That bed needs to be elevated. You need 2 big steel corrugated pipes under there. And you need to take those departure angles out and approach angles. And you need to crown the road down past my way to get that water from sitting onto it so it doesn't freeze, because it is a shady area.
Are you both talking about the same section of
Yep.
road?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I know that road.
That's what I say, if you're gonna
What
visit
do
the
we
road,
do?
come in the rain. I'll call you.
We all know that road.
Okay, I'm gonna make a proposal here.
Yep.
Do not put steel pipe in the ground.
No.
Either use concrete or plastic. They won't rust. But now that steel will. So if you put it in there,
Well, that big concrete, it's a big concrete pipe.
Big
underneath
culvert.
that.
That's right.
Big culvert pipe.
But
Handle the flood flow.
as the government mantra is, we ain't never got enough time and money to do it right, but we always got enough time and money to do it over. So if you put steel in the ground when it rusts, you gotta put more steel in the ground so it can rust it. Don't do that. Now, I've done some housekeeping on the front end of this meeting, but there's one thing I didn't say, but I need to offer for clarification. This board has no authoritative power. We make no decisions. We only make recommendations. The county commissioners are the deciding, decision-making board in Alamance County. So, when you ask us to deny this permit, we could recommend it for denial, but we cannot deny it. We also can't approve it. That's gonna be up to the commission. So I just,
That's critical.
yeah, and accept my apology, please, for not saying that on the front end, because I'm not sure it would have changed anything, but all we do is review information and make recommendations. Yes, sir.
One more thing, I'm gonna advise everybody, when you get your tax assessments and they jack them up high, put this on your rebuttal to say, we've got 4 landfills within a certain distance, whether this goes in or not, and you want your property tax assessments to be knocked down. I did that and they did.
There you go. Okay. I think the family name is Powell, 1573 York Place.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good evening, gentlemen. I'm Jim Powell.
Jim, okay.
And I'm representing CTIC LLC, which has adjacent property. We have property along Stinking Quarter Creek. Now, how did they ever come up with a name like that?
You wanna know?
That's the first problem.
You want me to tell you, Pat?
Not tonight.
I've heard a lot of stories.
Well, the true fact is, they used to kill hogs up the way.
Yeah.
And they dumped all the stuff in the creek, and it come down the creek, and that's how it got named Sinking Creek.
I learned something today. Thank you.
And that's a fact.
Of course, Henry knows that.
I had heard the Indians buried deer meat in the creek to keep it cold, but yours sounds more plausible.
It's a fact.
But I'm gonna shorten some of my comments in the interest of time.
Thank you.
But my family moved to, certain parts of my family moved to Stinking Quarter Creek area 270 years ago. And so I have a sort of a soft spot in my heart for this part of the country. And I personally think this is the most beautiful, attractive part of Alamance County. And with the Toyota activity and all that construction now going on Highway 61 south of the interstate, there's going to be increasing demand for people that want to build houses and live in that area. That's going to be the growth, in my opinion, the growth area of Alamance County, and I personally think it's the prettiest place in Alamance County. And I think my personal opinion is the highest and best use of that property all around what we're talking about is probably residential. My concern is that the impact and the implications, long-term implications of having all of these LCID landfills coming to fruition in this area. And my concern is that I don't think we want this part of Alamance County to become the landfill area for central North Carolina. And I think that's a risk that we run as we continue to permit these in this area. And I'm concerned about the potential drainage into the Sinking Quarter Creek. We have deer on our property, and this is not deer friendly. and the noise and dust we've all talked about. I think the air pollution to me is possibly the most concerning thing that we've got. I did some studies with using artificial intelligence, asking these questions, and even I know there'll be the use of the incinerators. It won't be open burning; it'll be incinerator burning. But still, when you burn, things get into the air, and burning wood releases benzene, formaldehyde, toluene, submicroscopic particles, toxic ash, digoxins, and furans. Digoxins and furans are what were in Agent Orange that caused all the cancer. So the quality of the air, to me, is probably the most critical thing that we're talking about here tonight. And and that plus the potential for becoming the dump site for Central North Carolina here. You know, if we're gonna be the dump site, let's do it down near Austin Quarter, and not in
down there where I live.
Well, I mean, that's where the
where it already is.
It's where it is. Yeah, go down there and dump where it already is.
Exactly right.
And that would be my comment on that.
40 years ago, not 40 years ago today, but about 40 years ago, that site was proposed in Snow County. And the public hearing was in the gym at Sylvan School. I was there as a child, but I was there. And them people over there come, some with guns. And they said, "You ain't put no landfill over here." Do you remember that, Pam?
I do.
Yep. And it's not in Snow County.
Well, I know about the Sylvan School crowd.
Yeah.
I grew up in Elon, and we used to play them in basketball. They were a rough crowd.
Yeah. If you get between them and they just knock you over. Shooting.
But I just to reiterate, my concern is the quality of the air. And if we're surrounded out there, people that live there, if you're surrounded by all of these dumps, burning stuff, it's putting out toxins. And the elephant in the room here has been addressed by one person, is the impact on the value of your property out there. And the stuff that I've looked up, you get varying. I've looked at a bunch of articles about this. It varies anywhere from 5 to 15%. And you know, some of these articles have to do with municipal sites, so you have to discount that. But I think we all know that this does impact the value of our property. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, you just went to the crux of the issue of zoning.
Yeah.
Not where I live.
Yeah.
Not where I live.
Well, I'm gonna say again, 20 years ago, when I was a boy, I had been taught and indoctrinated that zoning is a bad idea. You got to have 3 barracks repairs and 2 crepe myrtles in your front yard. The pickets on your front porch have got to be more than 4, but can't be more than 7 inches apart. I mean, ridiculous stuff. Your house has got to have a brick foundation, masonite siding, and a standing seam metal roof. This is an example of zoning out of control. An example of zoning done right is we're going to put houses here. We're going to put farmland here. We're going to put industrial and commercial here. And over here on the other side of that, we're going to put the landfill. So that the houses are buffered from the offensive stuff. But when you got everybody coming in here and saying, "Oh, you can't have no zoning." And you know, I have sat in other counties around here. Now this goes back 20, 30 years. But I've heard people say, "We love to go to Alamance County and work because you can do anything you want to over there." And as long as you don't have any zoning, there's no control. This is correct. So
I just out of curiosity, I looked on a state map of these LCIDs. There are none in Orange County. So it can work against you too. If you wanna build a house in Orange County, you gotta have a stack of paperwork and it adds to the cost of everything.
That's
So
extremely
we're blessed that we need to find that balance. Balance count. Otherwise, you will get a county, they will tell you what you can do with your farmland.
And every time we get close to getting something done, somebody comes in here and says, well, look at Orange County. Psh, it's good. You got to start over from zero again. So thank you for that. I know you didn't do that on purpose, but that's always that's the textbook example. Go ahead, put it in place, and you be just like Orange County. So that mixes it. You couldn't get a vote on that by yourself, talking about Orange County. Okay, Linda Kirkpatrick.
That was me,
So you've already spoken.
yes.
Okay.
Except I have, please,
Gotta show your sign.
I would like to, I'd like to hit some heartstrings somewhere and let you all kind of understand the real problem is we are residential, we have been there, we are concerned about our health, we're concerned about our property and our water drinking, all of these things, and it has slipped up why have 3 landfills within 2 miles of each other. Why?
In time for an impact study.
It's actually less than a mile.
Less than a mile.
Joe
2 miles.
Snyder.
It's literally 1 mile when you stretch it.
My name's Joe Snyder. I live at 4565 Cobb Road. And I have something that was given to me. It's the Alamance County Unified Development Ordinance. So this is it was put out for the permit. And in it, it's stated, and this is probably good information for everybody here because I'm sure they don't know this, but it says, please state the proposed days and hours of operation on here. And it's stated Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's 5 days a week, almost like a 12-hour time frame. And then Saturdays from 8 to 12. And in parentheses, it states, subject to occasional, situational, or emergency change. And somebody explained that to me, but anyways, it sounds like it could increase as needed or necessary. So I guess the point I want to make is noise pollution is one of my biggest concerns, along with what Jim said about property values. But for me, I have somebody near my property already, out on 62, that gets some hay delivered once in a while. And I think everybody here at some one time or another has heard what happens when these heavy equipment go in reverse. They have these beepers. They're the most annoying things by definition. They did so on purpose. Because when there's a big truck coming at you, obviously you can't, you need that beeper because you can't see it or hear it, right? We're all in concurrence with that. It's the most annoying thing that I've ever heard in my life when it comes to me. I moved into Alamance because of the quiet. Unfortunately, as everybody who lives in the area knows, you're in the flight line, but that's occasional. An airplane flies over, you don't hear one for a while. But these hours in this operation with compactors and excavators and everything going on, and those things are going to be going on all day long, and they're going to be backing up. I would hate to make a guess at how many times they have to back up in the daytime. It's going to be a lot of that beeping going on, and I'll be suicidal, personally, because that's one of the most annoying sounds I've ever heard. So that's my point. I don't want to get redundant. A lot of people have made other points that I also agree to. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. David Wren, Beale Road.
Yes, sir.
I'm Dave Wren. I live on Bill Road, which is near Clap Mill Road, a couple miles down the road. I probably spend more time on Mr. Phillips's property than he does. Gary, I know you, Mr. Powell. I hunt next door to you. I know myself, Mr. Phillips had planted over 500 trees. I got the blisters to prove it. Talking about wildlife. I have dozens and dozens of pictures of deer, turkey. We have planted food plots. Everywhere but that site, he is nothing but improved. He grew up in that neighborhood. The people in Jacks Creek, y'all like y'all's houses, right? Okay? He cleared Jacks Creek. All that brush went to Collinsville Road. Again, Alamance County's growing. If they had to haul that brush somewhere else down the road, you're looking at the cost of your house $50,000 to $100,000 more. It costs. Okay? For that being so close, it'd help the cost of y'all's house to stay down. Alamance County is going to continue to grow. The city of Burlington, Mebane, all your municipalities use the Collinsville Road. They're going to continue to because more people produce more brush, other things like that. Also, he lives in the community. He grew up in the community. The Stinking Quarter Creek, when I was a kid, we used to go down there and swim in the creek. So he wants to keep his community and his family living. He's not there to destroy your neighborhood or anything. And the whole word landfill, that's a negative word because it's nothing like that. Pretty much you're taking anything that you walk through the woods and see on the ground, it's going in a hole. A lot of times, if after hours, if you hear the beeping or whatever, I'm actually on a tractor back there planting food plots or clearing a spot for a food plot. You know, so it's not always that.
That has nothing to do with the dump. They're not gonna be gardening back there if they're dumping and they're compacting and moving the debris around. That's a whole other thing. I don't mean to interrupt you, but let's stay on track as far as the functionality of the
No, all I'm talking about, I use the equipment to do that stuff.
Right. And it's gonna be magnified because once it goes into operation, there's gonna be a lot more of those tractors out there.
But I just want everybody to know he is a pillar of the community too.
And I don't think anybody in here wants to.
Be a good citizen and move it somewhere that's conducive.
I don't think that's the.
Okay, my understanding is you went from door to door and talked to everybody, right?
As many as I had time to. I don't.
Okay, Mr. Phillips lives right across the street. Why wasn't that your first stop?
Well, he's the applicant.
Okay, why not go to the source and sit down and have a conversation with the source?
You think he'd come and oppose his own property?
No,
Actually, I figured Mr. Phillips would have been here to hear what the community is
we're getting off subject.
He's supposed to be addressing us, so turn around.
We need to get this back on track.
But I am saying he is not to destroy anything in the community. He has tried himself to make the community better. And what everybody said, what can you show that this is benefiting to the public? Every municipality uses it. The county uses it. DOT uses it. City of Burlington uses it. Elon uses it. A lot of these houses these people live in came there. So that if you kind of got something against that, it's a two-way street. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. That's all I got to say. Thank y'all for your time.
Thank you. Jamie Hubbard.
I just want to say one thing, that the air curtain that
Like everybody else.
Yeah.
We don't want you to miss out on.
Okay, yeah, thank you. The air curtain that everybody's, James Hubbard, and I help Kenneth too, but the air curtain that everybody has a concern about is state regulated. So the state comes down there and regulates that air curtain. It's not just a free burn whenever you want to. We have to keep records of every time we burn. Everything that something's done with that burner, we have to keep a record of it, and the state inspects us once or twice a year. What is it, Kenneth?
Once a year.
So the state comes and inspects our burner at least once a year. So
How many times you burn?
we burn all the time.
That's right.
But it's an air curtain. So that air curtain, the air curtain keeps the smoke and debris down. That's what it's for. It's to keep.
How many tons is that air burn?
We're gonna have to keep this on track. Get close to quit time.
I'm good.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Thank you. Okay. Robin Hart. The other is Robin Hall. So yeah, I'm sorry for the confusion here. Jesse Nickerton.
I live on the same driveway. I'm just listening more or less now.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you for that. Carol Davis.
Good evening. My name's Carol Davis. The last time I spoke to you in 2022, we were discussing another LCID landfill, the Alamance LCID, located just south of my property. And at the time, I asked, do we really need three landfills, or three landfills within a 3-mile radius of Coble Township? At that point, it was Philippi, Sandrock, and then this new Alamance LCID. Back then, the answer was yes, because Alamance County was and is growing amazingly fast. And that growth has been good for the tax base. The Jacks Creek subdivision is a good example of that. The homeowners there paid nearly $53,000 in property tax in 2025. Almost half of that came from people whose houses are going to back up to this landfill. But again, as everyone else has said, we already have in Coble Township 75% of the LCID landfills in the county. And if this one's approved, we'll have 80%. So Mr. Powell is absolutely right. We're setting I think we already set a dangerous precedent here that says this is the dumping ground for the state. Or for the county. So like many of my neighbors, I'm concerned about noise, dust, truck traffic, and declining property values. In fact, I got one of those unsolicited letters about, we want to buy your land. The one I got before was for $1.6 million. The one I got right after I got the certified letter was for $169,000, a 90% decline. So anyway, I take those with a grain of salt anyway. But my greatest concern about the location of this landfill is fairness. If this landfill is approved, I will be the only property owner in Alamance County that have two separate landfills adjoining their property. I have Alamance LCID to the south, I'll have Philippi to the north. And that's just not fair. I mean, the purpose of land use planning is to balance the needs of the community without unfairly burdening individual landowners. And I think there might be a compromise solution at least to some of this. I mean, I've heard a lot about Clap Mill Road, and I know that's a residential road. But Mr. Philippi's parcels that he owns, he probably could get a right-of-way to NC 62 and have come in that way instead of coming in on McClendon Drive, the driveway through there. That's sort of way above my area of expertise, but it seems like there is a better way to do this. He could site the landfill further back into his property rather than, right there where it's going to impact the 13 landowners in Jacks Creek and Mr. Nicotin. And, so anyway. So again, tonight, I respectfully ask that you not approve this. And I think we can find a better solution, one that protects Mr. Philippi's business interest and his right to do business, but also protects the quality of life that we all enjoy in Coble Township. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. And as a point of clarification, and this is not in argument, but having spent many hours researching this, the county makes money with the property tax of farmland. And that is, for every dollar that comes up here to Graham, it costs the county about 60 cents to administer. And when I heard it the first time, I just like everybody else said, do what now? And then he said, well, beef cows and pine trees don't go to school. And they rarely call 911. Commercial and industrial property tax makes money for the county. Residential tax cost the county.
Absolutely.
Okay, there you have it. I don't need to say another word.
$1.46 for every dollar paid based on a 2009 study.
And I was gonna say 135, but it's $1.45.
So how is this class tax-wise? I mean, I don't understand the point. Your objective.
Which has got nothing to do with anything.
Okay.
The point is, we're building more houses to raise the tax base, which by default is raising the cost of doing business, because every dollar that comes up here, we spending $1.45. And for the property that was paying $1 and costing 60 cents, that's what we're converting. That's where we're going with this. When we fill up all the fields with houses, then the tax is really gonna go up.
I left the bottom end of the statement earlier off when I was talking about the situation in Snow Camp. I need to add this because I don't want to hear it again. After we went through all that and proposed a plan worked to come up with a plan, the biggest comment we got from everybody was, "Why did you pick on Snow Camp?" We were responding to all the comments, to wanting help in Snow Camp. I thought that was so transparent.
You was greasing the baron that was squeaking the loudest at the time. Yep. Gary Carlisle, 6332 Highway 62. Sherry Ford, 3968.
Hi, Sherry Ford, 3968 South 62. Our part of the county already has its share, more than its share, and I had written this before I heard all of the information here tonight. But I knew that we had several landfills in the vicinity, and generally people don't consider that as desirable neighbors. And I don't know Mr. Philippi. I have nothing against Mr. Philippi. I've heard he's a good guy, but all of us like to make some money if we have some property, I guess. But I really think that our part of the county needs a different way to make money. We think it's time to spread the good work and let the rest of the county have part of it if we can. And I think Alamance County is a sucker for taking all these developers in and not having guidelines and zoning. And I don't know what we do. You know, y'all said you've really worked hard on it, and I appreciate that. I don't know what we can do other than try to get other people to support that.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
Because all we ever gets opposition to zoning or any kind of land planning, or all we ever get opposition. The county commissioners need to hear the support from the people that's what they want.
Yeah. So, you know, obviously the developers are gonna think it's a free-for-all and flock in, and we're gonna be out of luck if we don't get something situated in Alamance County. Nobody's excited to have a landfill next door to their residence or in their neighborhood. So a major concern that I'm hearing tonight, to me, is the air quality and what people are breathing. And that's really a big concern to consider when you allow so many landfills in such a short distance of one another. I mean, if they're breathing what Agent Orange was, who's gonna be responsible for that in the future, when people are sick? A big concern to me, and I know y'all said already that the transportation and traffic is not your issue, but I live on Highway 62 in the Mill Village of Alamance, and I'm very concerned because we have all the dump trucks and the tractor trailers, and Highway 62 is the main route that these trucks are gonna come through. And I had my husband go out and measure from the front of our house into the roadway is 14 feet. So you think about all of them that come through, And I worked hard to get a historic district. I worked with the county and the state, and I really have a lot of concern for people's safety through there. We've had a lot of accidents. We've had a child hit. We've had an elderly woman rear-ended trying to turn in her driveway. We've had 3 accidents where a building was hit and a person was killed. We have people hitting telephone poles, and it's 30-mile-an-hour zone, but we have no law enforcement in the village. So people they fly through there. Anyway, I would like to ask if there's any way that can be considered. I know you all make the recommendation to the commissioners. Our daily traffic count is about 13,000 vehicles coming through that little village. And then the plant over at Liberty, I think, was supposed to bring in over 2,000 more. The Holt Elementary is right there. So we've got it going on. And I ask you, if it's your home and you were 14 feet from that road, how happy you would be to think about adding another landfill that's coming through. Thank you.
I'd spend a lot of money on my back door.
Well, that's a thought.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am.
So I think this is Larry, 4244 Jacks Creek.
Was I?
Okay.
Harry Salo, 4244 Jacks Creek. I just moved in May, retired to be with the grandkids. I just wanted to, I'm not going to rehash everything, but what another woman brought up. I don't have much faith that, I'm against it, just say that. I don't have much faith that the fact that we don't have any zoning, we're going to come out on top. When what Smokey said, that he has to vote for it even though he's against it, or approve it. So I'd like to play a little chess here and think 3 moves ahead. If it does get approved, could you recommend that Mr. Philippi find an alternate entrance to the property to avoid coming down Clap Mill?
Does he have an easement over 62 is the question.
Yeah, I don't know that. I heard that his property went to 62, but I don't know. I haven't looked. So that would be my request, just to recommend an alternate entrance. And that would solve one problem anyway. Not that we can't have the road repaved, just saying.
Thank you. Okay. Alan, Figas, Figas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alan Figas, 4226 Jacks Creek Trail. I'm not going to say anything that the group hasn't already said. And I'm certainly, my calling was not to be a preacher, and you're going to see that. So, but I just want to point out, I lived on that road for about 5 years, Jacks Creek Trail, and we moved there, for the rural setting. Alamance County was the attraction, moved from out of state. I drive an hour to work just because I want to live in Alamance County. And again, I think everything the neighbors said here, I learned more from them than I did. Mr. Philippi isn't here to talk about this. It appears as though people did get invitations or certified letters because they bordered his property. Mine does not. I think I'm 100 feet away from it. But I just want to let you know, leave you with a visual here. My invitation was about a week ago. I went out to get in my car. I thought a bird exploded. I thought maybe a hawk had eaten something. The ash on my car looked like feathers or down. And so when you talk about the air curtain is or this or that, my property doesn't abut this. I'm not physically as close as some of the people, but the effects are not just the property that borders this. It does sound as though there's enough landfills like this already close enough, and they're not closing down or they're not full. Why not fill them up, and when they're done, open the next one? And I've got residents in my property that have asthma and COPD, so obviously a concern. And this hasn't even gone full blown. It's just ramping up, right? So that's what we're seeing already. Just echoing all of that. Of course, I'm opposed to it. So.
Okay. Thank you. David, 3958 Clap Mill?
That's me.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, thank you. All right. Now, Gary Carlisle, Gary 6332 Highway 62. Okay. All right. Now, has everybody that's here that wanted to talk about this landfill had a chance? Okay. Got a motion to close the public hearing?
Six.
Motion to second.
Did Kenneth want to say anything?
I think if he did, he would. I'm good.
Okay. Got a motion and a second? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Okay. So the motion carried. The public hearing is closed. It is 10 minutes after 9, plus a little bit. You want to work on through the rest of this stuff? You want to move it?
Everything I had prepared, I conveyed at the outset of the public hearing. If you guys have any more technical questions about the application, the intent to construct, or any other documentation, I'm happy to go through that with you. As I mentioned, really your role here tonight is to evaluate and determine if the application complies with the requirements of the Heavy Industrial Development Ordinance. If you determine that it does, you make a recommendation of approval to the county commissioners for their final review and or approval. If you determine that it does not, that issue shall be made in writing and delivered to the applicant.
I have some questions,
Yes, sir.
and I have some concerns. This landfill is supplied for a permit with us. It seems to me that this landfill is already in the process of being a landfill. I don't understand how this can be going on before the permit is even issued by the county. I think that's a problem. I don't think that the notifications were sent out properly, because I think there's a lot of residents out here that did not receive the notices that should have. Why would you be moving dirt and doing all this work if you don't know for sure that you're gonna have a permit?
He's already put in a dust suppression system along that road, sprinklers.
Yeah. So, this is just not right. This whole thing is not right. I know Gordon Pike and the process that he went through of getting the permit and everything for his landfill, and it is nothing like what this process has went through here.
He's not moved any dirt. Everyone keeps talking about the air quality. That's a separate permit that's been issued by the state.
I'll give you a chance to talk, and give me a chance to talk.
Yes, sir. I'll just help him clarify that.
Right, but I mean, the fellow here, the engineer said they've been moving dirt. And they've done, but I'm just saying, it seems like we got the horse before the cart.
Can you explain that, Matthew, as far as what Henry's is?
Sure, yeah. So we actually received a complaint about this property earlier in the year and sent staff out to take a look at the property. We were also under the impression that they were operating the landfill prior to properly approving through the TRC and then through this public hearing process. We sent a notice of violation, and then we got a response from the engineer certifying that the activities they were involved in were the use of an air curtain incinerator for the storage of cleaning concrete to crush and repurpose. And that does not technically meet the definition of a landfill as defined by North Carolina General Statute 130A, Article 9. So even though there's activity on the property currently, it does not meet the definition of a landfill, which means it's not regulated as a heavy industrial development operation.
So you're saying they're crushing
Clean concrete to crush and repurpose.
So, don't you have to have a permit under the impact ordinance to do that? I think you do. So, you have to have one to grind.
He ain't grinding.
That's just what he just said.
He's stocking it for that.
He said he was grinding. So now, one of the two things, which one is it?
Ready mix concrete suppliers and cement manufacturing are the closest uses that are class 1 and class 3 under the ordinance.
Okay, did you say that he is in fact grinding and processing used and broke up concrete for fill, or did you say that he is stocking it in there for future use?
The certification we got from the engineer was, quote, cleaning concrete to crush and repurpose.
To crush, not crushing.
Correct. Mr. Wilson issued that. You sent me that, correct?
That's correct.
Would you like to elaborate on that?
Absolutely. I mean, there was a lot of activity that was bringing a notice of violation without questioning Mr. Philippi at all. And so we needed clarification, so we got clarification. He's storing concrete on the property for purposes of crushing it and for using it to gravel his access road as necessary. So there's been a lot of stuff flying around that is not exactly, correct about this. But
Did you not say, or did you say that y'all been moving dirt down there?
he is moving dirt to follow up with the North Carolina Division of Environmental Quality to build a sediment trap and to build the erosion control measures. And he's also having to clear in order to get access to those points. But those are erosion control measures that have got to be put in place before he can ever move anything, even clearing and grubbing. He has to have those measures in place before he can start clearing and grubbing to prepare for the landfill. So yes, we already have the erosion control permit, which would allow him to move dirt as part of the erosion control permit, and all of that property is protected on the perimeter so that any runoff that comes off is protected by a regulated measure that we designed in compliance with NCDEQ's erosion control manual. They approved it. I mean, it's going to the state to be approved. They reviewed the plans, they commented on the plans, we adjusted the plans. So if there's any activity that is going on out there as far as dirt moving, that was what I meant to say, is he's got to move dirt. You understand what a sediment basin is, obviously. It's just a big hole in the ground. It's got a weir, it's got a skimmer. It collects the runoff from water, settles it into the basin, and then the skimmer discharges the clear water off. And so thereby you try to control the erosive sediment that comes off the site. There's diversion ditches that have to be created, so you have to clear a path and trees, and then these diversion ditches are berms that keep runoff contained in the property and direct them to the sediment basin. Those are the activities that we're aware of.
And all this stuff is being done for what purpose?
To put in compliance with
put in
what
a
the
landfill.
state has said you
To put us in, yes.
To put the landfill in.
Yeah, to install the landfill. We're moving forward with.
Why would you do all of that before you got a permit?
Amen. This permit should have been issued before any of that happened.
Before you received the permit.
This is an intent to construct
as
permit,
far as the steps that are
intent to
necessary.
construct. Therefore, you
What's
would
that?
get this
Can you refer
permit
to the ordinance as
first.
far as the
I
steps that are
intend to
necessary
construct.
in the order that they are
Then you go to
necessary?
DEQ.
Because we're following, we just follow the order.
That hasn't happened.
And that's
I'm
the
gonna
reason I
need you
say
to
that
help
this
them.
permit ought to be denied, because the things have not been followed properly. And that's
Let me
all
say
I-
this.
Where's the ash coming from?
May I say this, as far as this goes?
The ash is coming from
What
the
section?
incinerator right now, because.
Well, it depends on what you're
it's considered as a
specifically referring to.
portable
I think
incinerator
it's on
that
page
can move, and that's
69,
what
I
they
think.
just said in this
Starts on
meeting.
69. There is,
This is the operations permit.
okay, we need to know the order of. Okay, there's a
I think what they're
groundwater.
referring to is, with the intent to construct permit, shall be required before the owner or operator of the regulated industry commences any construction activities.
Agreed, and he has not commenced any construction activities other than what was approved by the state for erosion control. That was our
But
understanding.
Wouldn't that be any construction activities?
That's an interpretation I can't answer.
That's all I have.
But yes, he is preparing for the landfill because of time and cost constraints, that's true.
But he doesn't have, like.
The ordinance identifies
I'm
steps
saying,
that we have to
He doesn't
take.
have a permit for construction
From the county,
from the county.
an intent to construct
Intent
approval.
to construct.
So Matthew, could you?
We actually do now have the
Help us
intent to
a little bit as
construct
far as what he's
permit.
talking about, the
Yeah.
steps?
So I think with regard to permitting procedures, I think the section you're referring to is 6.5.4B, intent to construct permits. An intent to construct industrial development permit shall be required before the owner or operator of a regulated industry commences any construction activities. A separate intent to construct development permit is required for each regulated land use. I think perhaps the gray area here is exactly what the state requires so that a developer can submit the necessary documentation and testing to them to get those state permits. Our local permits require that a developer submit copies of approved state permits. If the state says you have to engage in a certain amount of activity to do the testing necessary to comply with our permits, there's a bit of a loop there that perhaps that's what's getting caught.
The state imagine, would require an erosion control plan submittal to be made showing what you are going to do. They would issue that approval letter, which would accompany this application for the intent to construct. They wouldn't just say, go out there and start doing it. They have to approve the plans, your erosion control plans.
And they've submitted an approved sediment erosion control plan.
But now they're acting on that without a permit from the county. And I think that, where did I read that?
Well, can I clear that up real quick?
Paragraph L, compliance with other governmental requirements, is one of the standards that we're supposed to be looking at. And they're supposed to show that applicants under this section are required to comply with all other applicable county, state, and federal regulations. It goes stormwater, erosion control. The planning director may require the applicant submit additional information based on the permitting requirements. Failure to submit any additional information required by the planning director shall result in the denial or revocation of an operations permit. So that sounds like that's ongoing.
Mm-hmm. And the operations permit phase comes after the intent to construct permit phase.
I work with this stuff. This is not how it operates when you're permitting.
You want to elaborate on that?
I've been in local government planning for 20 plus years. I work in zoning, site plan approval, subdivision approval. Everywhere I've worked, you get your erosion control plan approval, then you get your site plan approval or your subdivision plat approval, your preliminary plat approval from the county or the city. And once you get that, you're authorized to begin construction. You don't start construction before you get all your approvals in place. Unless the local government has some provision where you can get a pre-approval for grading. And some jurisdictions will allow you to do that. They'll let you go ahead and start beforehand.
I mean, I'd like to speak to that if I might.
Well, go ahead.
Okay. So the grading and erosion control permit is specifically for clearing and grubbing a site in preparation for beginning the construction activity. And some are specific to subdivisions and padding and everything that's necessary to keep the site contained. But the clearing and grubbing operations, and honestly, I don't know the extent of the operations that Mr. Phillippe's done. However, the clearing and grubbing operations are approved by the state for the erosion control. The grading permit, the grading shown on the plans is to help the state understand what is going to happen to that site. And that would be, in my opinion, the construction activity. But clearing and grubbing operations were already approved from the DEQ permit. And Mr. Phillippe, if he's decided to clear, he's still in compliance with the state requirements to contain the erosion on the site. He has not, to my knowledge, been, operating as a borrower today. But, you know, I can't speak to that, but what I can say is, he's in compliance with the state and the NCDEQ as far as the grading and erosion control permit. The reason we showed the grades was it would be counterproductive for us to say, okay, here's the grading plan as he clears and grubs the site. And then now we've got to come back and do another site plan for the county and say, okay, here's what the borrow pit's gonna look like. Here's our subsurface explorations. It's not cost effective for anybody, including the engineer. So his construction operations are to clear and grub the site in preparation for, hopefully, a county approval for the landfill. There's no question about that. But the erosion control permit was approved so that he might clear and grub the site. So I don't know how you might define construction activities. I mean,
Would you build $1 million house without permits?
that doesn't seem like a relevant question to me.
Hey, you're already in operation and you don't even have all your ducks in a row.
I disagree, he's not in operation.
Oh, but he's got concrete already being delivered?
He's got
in preparation,
concrete
he's
stored.
cleared? Ah.
He can store concrete on his site without a permit. I mean, you know, you're playing two sides against the middle, man. Do you do what you want with your property, and or do you have a zoning? You know, he's operating within the confines of what he understands to be the ordinance to be, and that's a
If he's
fact.
not operating, where are all the trucks going in and out? Right.
I'm unaware of trucks going in and out, but I mean, I'll just allow whoever to operate. You know, my job, and you guys need to understand, so I'm not your enemy. My task is to provide an engineering design for a specific site using the topography that I've been given and using the ordinances that I have to be tasked to follow. And that's exactly what we've done. Now, as far as the other operations that are going on site, what we've done is followed the ordinance as best we can, and like you all said, we crossed the T's, we dotted the I's. That's our task. As engineers working for a client, that's what we do. I can't disagree with the fact that, yeah, the road's probably dangerous. That's a DOT issue. It has nothing to do with what we're doing on Mr. Phillippe's site, you know? And the other side of it is, you know, the air quality permit, I have no control over that. I have no comment on that. I didn't participate in that. What I've participated in is what you saw up there on the topography and the grading on a site that a client asked me to do. He asked me to conform to the ordinance that's given to me. We have conformed with the ordinances, and we have also conformed to whatever was required as far as mailing out the notifications given to us by the county. Here are the requirements. This is what the dates have to be. We followed their email. We followed that to the letter. Now that's been deemed subjective. My point is simple. He's not doing construction activity to construct the landfill until we get this permit, and it's his right to pursue it and in hopes that he'll get the landfill, but he's not under construction until we get his permit, which basically is why we're all here. So,
Well, is there a conflict here with what he's stating and what these two gentlemen just said prior to his comments? I mean, they can speak at that.
is there a
This gentleman
conflict?
here,
That's
is
a
there
great
conflict?
question. I don't know.
Is there or not? I mean, I don't know we established that, but everybody's.
I'd like to establish that too, because what I'm saying is absolutely true as far as I know.
You don't go to the site every day.
Because they certainly seem
I
to
don't go to the
establish
site
something saying
until I
that
design it
something's out of
and then
order.
as built it. And
He's
that's
never been to
it.
the site.
What do you mean by
And I
conflict?
respect
Not
the
sure.
fact that
What do you
he's
mean
just
by
following-
conflict exactly?
Well, he's been employed by the Kenneth Phillippe, right, to do a job.
That's
And he's-
correct.
And he's just proceeding in good faith, right?
I mean,
Would
I'm
that be fair to say?
proceeding under contract with what I've been tasked to do.
Right, okay,
And I have a guideline to follow.
right.
We
But
have
is
followed the
was that
guidelines, man.
guideline in conflict with what you just stated? That he has all the permits and all the requirements and is following the proper procedures?
Well, with regards to the conflict, I think it comes down to what defines construction activities, as you mentioned. You
I
know.
mean, if you define them by what the state says, he's allowed to clear and grub the site in preparation, and developers do this all the time. They're allowed to go ahead and prep the site.
As Tom said, is a permit been issued to construct?
there's a definition of construction activities in the UDO that says any studies, investigations, improvements, or other activities undertaken at the site of a proposed regulated industry pertaining to the construction, placement, erection, or establishment of the same, including but not limited to surveys, soil and other environmental tests, clearing and grading, pouring footers or pads, placing building materials or equipment at the site, locating or constructing buildings, structures, or other improvements, or any other similar activities, except those similar activities constitute operations as defined in this ordinance. So I'm not arguing one way or the other, but let's be truthful.
The construction
You've got to show
activities-
compliance with the ordinance.
As we understand it, the construction activities that are currently underway are in compliance with the NCDEQ erosion control permit.
But possibly not in compliance with the Alamance County Unified Development Ordinance.
That's my understanding of what I'm hearing, exactly
That's-
what you said.
That's not something that I can, I've been doing this for 44 years. And I've never seen an erosion control permit issued whereby the developer or the client did not proceed as quickly as possible, simply based on cost, to begin clearing and grubbing, because that's an extensive and time-consuming operation. So, we don't, I think we're splitting hairs here. Mr. Phillips could clear his site and grub it and never construct a landfill and take that risk if we don't get this approval. So if he takes the risk of, okay, they didn't approve me, I've cleared this site, I've grubbed it, I've got the erosion control permit in place, I'm in compliance, where does the ordinance speak to that? Because every situation that I've been in, once you get the erosion control permit, you start, gangbusters trying to get the site
Excuse me if I
prepped.
may cut you off, it sounds like what he's stating overrides what this gentleman's saying about what the Alamance County requirements are. That's what I'm hearing.
I mean, the definition of construction activities needs to be determined right here, because what I'm seeing as construction activities, and my understanding of it with my experience, does not agree with construction activities as you're defining. And I'm not saying you're wrong or right, I'm simply saying, status quo, my industry, 44 years of experience, that would not be deemed construction activities. We're not building a landfill until we get approval from the county, period.
There's already been a statement that they're storing logs, concrete, and other stuff.
They're accepting waste there, it's in operation.
We have seen the truck.
Well, it's been previously
I
operated.
can't speak to that. I can't speak to that, but I can
I got
speak
pictures
to.
of it.
That's fine. And I'm not defending or denying it. I'm just simply saying the task that I've been given, is to try to help you guys understand the technique, whatever the system is that we employed to get to before you, so we could legally build a landfill.
He said, what,
If you don't mind me asking, Mr. Cameron, what did you want to talk about?
Thank you, Chair. Just the position for seat on the board, actually.
He's an applicant for the planning board. That's under new business on the agenda. Mr. Chairman, I've got the UDO definition. I've got the UDO definition of construction activities on the screen.
What page
140.
Did you find any evidence of them operating as a landfill when you went on the notice of violation?
Well, no, the evidence we considered was your letter and
Prior to
and
that, when the
photographs from-
accusation was made, did you find evidence on
No.
the site?
No, not of the landfill.
And I mean, it agreed with Mr. Philippi to have that, accusation leverage against him also.
I understand. I think this is a technically separate question. It seems like the ordinance language is particularly harsh about what is constituted as construction activities. And if you read this definition, it's any studies, investigation, or improvements.
Then how do you
Which-
begin a site plan? because you can't begin a survey and you can't get topography.
I think that's a great question.
I mean, it's in conflict.
I think it's one of many areas that we've identified, which are innumerable at this point, where the local ordinance.
Matthew, may I ask you,
Yes, sir.
was a pre-application meeting held about this project?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
In July.
okay. July of this year?
We've
Yes,
been
sir.
through the pre-application meeting, we've been through the TRC meeting, we've been through the site plan review. We've been through the North Carolina Department of Cultural Resources, we've been through the State Historic Preservation Society, we've been through the National Heritage Program. We have tried to comply the letter of the law with not only the ordinance, but with the state requirements. So it does offend when we are accused of not having, executed our task to the best of our abilities, especially with my experience. And so,
No offense was meant.
I understand, but I don't agree, I don't have to agree or disagree. It is your responsibility to decide what construction activities are. My experience in my entire career is that when a grading and erosion control permit is issued, you can clear and grub the site in preparation for what's coming next. And we've been through all the TRC meetings and things are looking favorable. And, yes, we don't know about the road and the DOT and the issues, and I have compassion on that. And if there's dust and there's smoke, and I wouldn't want that in my house either. So it's not like, oh, let me push this issue. But it's offensive for us to be accused of not having tried our very best to comply with this ordinance and with this board.
Matthew, what's your experience with this as far as have you experienced something like this in previous applications?
In Caswell County, where I came from prior, we had actually adopted a heavy industrial development ordinance very similar to Alamance County's. I processed one solar farm application in that time. We had some discrepancy on the buffer around a flood zone that was on the property. Everything else with the ordinance seemed to be complied with. I understand that the applicant, after I'd moved on to come here, the applicant had violated the ordinance by clearing the land prematurely. But again, that was after I had left. So this is my first industrial development in my time here.
These plans have been through TRC, and they meet all of the standards for. Their plans meet all of.
According to my
staff
analysis.
can say that.
According to my analysis, yes, sir. I think that if there's any gray area, we tackled one earlier with the timing of the hearing notice, and the second would be technically what constitutes construction activities. At this point, I think it's out of staff's hands, and it's up for the planning board to make a determination if it complies.
Let me ask this question. In the event that just out of in the event that it's determined that we'll use the construction activities definition as described here, how does that affect Mr. Phillippe's going forward?
That's a really good question. I'm not a developer, so I don't know exactly what they may do. I think hypothetically, you have several options. He could say, this isn't worth it. I'm just not gonna. I'm denied. I'm not gonna reapply. Perhaps he could halt construction activities and demonstrate that and reapply. Perhaps there's another option I'm not thinking of. It's a good question.
And I'm not taking this lightly. I had Tuesday off for Veterans Day. I spent about 3.5 hours poring over this information the night before, maybe an hour and a half. So I just want to make sure we're following the rules that we've adopted and that we're doing the right thing. The applicant gets due process. The folks here get due process. I'm not for or against. I just want to make sure we're okay with the ordinance.
Did you want to say something in the back?
Me?
Yeah.
So, I would like to approach the council if that's okay, so I have photo evidence of the property.
Okay.
What I'm gonna show you is
Do you mind picking up that pen? Is that yours?
Again, my property is almost in the middle of where Mr. Phillippe's properties are at. I take drone photos of my property as I'm building pastures and barns and everything else. So this is the property as of today.
Okay.
And you guys,
Yeah, I wanna see them when you.
this is as of April. Okay. This is the property as of today. This is as of April 2025. These trucks have been going in and out since springtime.
Yeah, I just want to talk about some of this while it's fresh in our minds.
That's the stored concrete.
Okay.
What was you gonna say? Carl?
Oh, I just wanted to say, I've asked our county attorney's office to take a look at the language in this ordinance and make sure we get it cleaned up so that it's consistent and not conflicting.
Right, thank you.
And let me say on the issue with the notice, because I know that was the first thing that popped up, in looking at the statute, between the state statute and our local ordinance, we would follow the more restrictive, which would be our ordinance of the 21 days. The state says a minimum of 10, so they could have just given 10 days minimum. We require 21 under whatever that was on here, the, that section of our ordinance, so we would be okay to follow the 21-day minimum, so that's in compliance.
We followed the instructions as were given to us via email from the planning department. So
The
that's
21-day
how we
minimum, yes.
proceeded with mailing the notification.
Mr. Chairman, I have a comment to make.
Yes, sir.
I made 2 trips out to this area. And what I have found is that there's 33 homes on the road, on this road. Jack Creek Trail, there's 16 homes. Dead End Road, it has to dump out into this Platte Mill Road. Regulator Drive has 11 homes. Kelly Lee Lane has 7 homes, and then there's another road I didn't go down because it looked to be private, but there's about several mobile homes. That's over 70. The point I'm trying to make is this: 70 homes dump out on that road. And I totally understand what Smokey was saying earlier in the meeting about our requirement. If the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, we're supposed to approve it. But where does a crossed T and a dotted I more important than public safety? So, Mr. Chairman, this is considered to be a rural residential area. We spent April, May, June, July, and August discussing that topic, and I'm not gonna say it was ignored, it looked it was ignored when it got to the commissioners. I do not believe, now, what I'm required to do is live with my conscience. And sir, I will say this, I will not support this permit. Regardless of what's going on here with all the paperwork, regardless of what's going on with the attorney. If this is approved, what we've just heard from the residents is gonna get worse. It's not gonna get better. And I've heard enough where we should never allow it to get worse. It should get better. And I heard the state inspection. State inspection's a joke. I know it's a joke. The state knows it's a joke. They can't cover everything. They don't have enough people. There's no way I'm gonna support this. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
For clarity again, Matthew, if you don't mind, repeat back again what I appreciate what you said. Can you repeat back what our charge is in reviewing?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so this comes from section 6.5.4, permitting procedures. Application shall be presented to the planning board for a public hearing and determination of compliance with the requirements of the ordinance. If the planning board determines that the application is compliant with the requirements of this ordinance, the planning board shall forward its approval recommendation to the Board of Commissioners for final approval. If the planning board determines that the application is not compliant with the requirements of the ordinance, the planning board shall issue a written determination of its reasons and deny the application.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we deny the permit because I don't think that it has went by our ordinance.
I would think we should go through the requirements and have they done, do we have information that supports a recommendation to approve? You know, that's out of fairness.
I think we do. Motion.
So, and this isn't a quasi judicial evidentiary hearing, so we don't have to make findings of fact. We just have to, let's just go down. So I think we've determined it's a class 1 regulated land use. It meets the minimum lot size, land, operation setback, stream setback. That's been shown in the application. Doesn't appear to be any buildings involved. A question I had looking at it is there's this land use spacing and protected facilities. In this case, the table's off. There doesn't appear to be one.
Correct. For a class 1 use, there's no.
Class 1 use, so,
right.
so that's, so we don't need a land spacing waiver. Operations setback.
Yeah.
I believe, I'm not sure on the operations setback.
So the operation setback is 150 feet for a class 1 use. And the site plan here around the perimeter, you'll see the measurement, 150-foot buffer from property line.
So operation setback shall be measured from the edge of the designated area of operations of the property line of the tract in which the area of operations is located.
Mm-hmm.
No area of operations or internal roadways may be located within the operation setback area. Vegetative screening and fencing are allowed. So do temporary, Matthew, and you're based on the ordinance, do these temporary sediment basins, which I assume are gonna stay there?
They're temporary.
They're temporary, okay, so they're going away. All right, that clarifies that, thank you. So it looks like all of their operations are gonna be within a 100-foot setback.
150 foot, yes, sir.
150-foot setback, excuse me. DOT said there was no need for traffic impact analysis.
Yes, sir. I have an email from Vance Patton, the Assistant District Engineer for NCDOT. Says he had a conversation with Wilson Engineering Group confirming the driveway package for Philippi Landfill on Clatt Mill Road. We've reviewed the project and a traffic impact analysis was not required based on the anticipated daily trips once the landfill is fully operational. The driveway package, parentheses D71-001-25-00045 has been officially approved and entered into our system.
Why don't we get the full package? Should that be public?
Yeah, that is just wrong.
No one's got to read that. It's all subject to the inputs of the engineer. Send them anything.
I'm sorry, what?
Let's ask him if he'll
I
come over
sent
there and
them what
stay
they
for a
requested
while.
us to send them so
and
they
see
can
what's
make their
going on.
evaluation. I'm not sure what
We
you're
just
saying.
request, we want to get the full package.
What's the full, you mean a full DOT package? Well, it's available, I'm sure.
It's customary for us to require an approved NCDOT driveway permit prior to the completion of a project. So the phase of this is the intent to construct phase, including the public hearing, and then they build the project, and then we do a site evaluation and request those follow-up documents, which would include an NCDOT driveway permit prior to issuing the operations permit. I know I just said a mouthful there, but.
Is there a way to appeal the traffic impact analysis with the DOT?
The ultimate commissioner's decision can be appealed. If they were to approve it.
Through the commissioners.
Their decision would be appealed to the Board of Adjustment.
I would highly recommend you do that based on what I'm understanding the road to be. It's a dangerous road just for residential traffic, it sounds like. You guys made it sound like it's, oh, I got an ice pond and I got a creek and I'm gonna slide off the road, or.
It is
It
so
sounds
narrow,
dangerous.
2 cars can hardly pass.
Right.
So
That's
you're
tough.
talking about dump trucks and tandem trailers, and they are already hauling dirt.
I mean, that's a
In
tough
the-
situation, I agree.
It is
I
a
can-
construction
I can tell
site.
you that I have traveled that road many, many times. That's my neighborhood too.
Okay. You know
And
there.
I pulled a cattle trailer down that road going to hit 62 to hit 61, go down the interstate.
Right.
And it's impossible to go down that road. It's S-curves. Well, my truck is on one side of the line and my trailer's on the other side of the line. And it's impossible to do it and stay on your side. And I can only imagine what a 18 wheeler would be like coming in there. You know, 'cause my trailer's long too. My trailer's 30-some foot long. So I mean, I'm getting pretty close to where they're at. But that is a dangerous road, and to have a lot of traffic coming in there, to be coming in there on a day-to-day basis is going to put a lot of people in danger on that road. And just like Henry said over there, I know where, I live less than 2 miles from mine, and I rode over there today and looking and seeing, what was going. I didn't know nothing about all this was coming down until today, and my apologies on that. But I think that I think that there's enough gray areas in here that we can deny this permit and within the standards of the ordinance. The notifications, I don't think were done properly. I don't think that the construction, intent to construct permit was issued in the right timely manner, so I think that those 2 things will allow us not to approve this. And the other side of it is that we just don't think that this is appropriate place, and we have, it's not that we need another landfill in this county, we've got plenty. So
I just want to clarify what you said. You live less than 2 miles and have not heard about this till tonight.
No.
You ain't seen any of the traffic already?
No, I live on Isley Drive.
Okay, I just want to clarify that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But now I will say, when I was driving over, I passed 4 trucks headed into that road.
What's past, Clap Mill Road down the road there?
What part are you talking about?
Down, Council Road there. You got Meridian Waste, right?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
I know exactly where, that's not, and that's a construction debris, in which they ride up and down that road all the time, throwing trash out, all up and down Spanish Oak Hill Road, all the time. And it's a nuisance, but, it's a bad situation. I mean, I ain't got nothing against Mr. Philby, not one thing, but this is a bad location to bring in. I don't even know how many trucks are we even talking about estimating coming in our day? Is there been any kind of study or anything presented on that part?
This traffic impact analysis language says all industries regulated by this section shall be required to demonstrate if their proposed heavy industrial use would create an amount of traffic in terms of vehicle trips per day that would push the roads by which the industry is gaining access over its practical carrying capacity as defined by the NCDOT, using the most up-to-date version of the Institute of Transportation.
Is that information?
We don't have that information, so
It will
I
be
would be
close.
willing to say, rather than denial, give the applicant the ability to
Address
Traffic
address
impact
amplify
analysis
their
is not gonna-
application.
It's not gonna go, I mean, it's wrong to have that narrow of a road and even one big truck coming. It has nothing to do with the site.
This is
Which is
truly,
why we're here.
this is truly a country, this is a true country road.
I agree, and,
It is only, it's
but the
not
traffic
wide.
impact analysis, that evaluation,
Yeah.
it's,
And that's that's almost a
it's
one-way
not gonna,
bridge down there.
it's not gonna bode well for you because the impact analysis equation is gonna say that there's not enough traffic on the road. They don't define, oh, well, we got gigantic truck with a lot of waste, tiny little car with a little woman trying to make an S-curve. They're not looking at that. So that traffic impact analysis is not gonna bode well. But I love the idea that the county commissioners would approach the NCDOT and, you know, that's a state-maintained road. Our taxes are paying to maintain that road. And it's dangerous, obviously. I mean, from everybody here, it's obvious. That's not the reason you would deny the landfill, except it makes great sense to say, holy cow, we don't need this. I agree. But what I'm saying to you is, from what I'm understanding, we don't want to be challenged as far as everything that we've done has been with the instructions of the county planning board to the letter. And so I just don't want to walk away from here and say, oh, well, you did it wrong, so we're going to deny. I mean, if there's another reason, maybe, or if there's another avenue, but it would be embarrassing to us to have not followed the letter of the law here, because that's what we're paid to do, you know?
Ms. Kirkpatrick.
You can't have the landfill without a road to get to it. And this is, every time I go out of I live on Cloud Mill Road. And most of the time, when I go out, once or twice a day, I'll meet or pass at least 3 dump trucks going either into that one or the one on Control Road. Both roads, you know what they're like. And you can't, I mean, the landfill can't be had without a road to get to it.
North County residents.
That's right.
North County residents, North County horse trade.
But we're there. We're there already.
Right, Mr. Phillips does it on the road anymore than you do. NCDOT.
Traffic impact analysis, operations areas, stream setbacks, landscaping and screening, gating and fencing, lighting, and compliance with other governmental requirements.
So have they met all those, Matthew, based on the steps they've taken so
I don't
far,
mean to
what you're
argue
presenting
that.
to them?
They have addressed, in my analysis, they've addressed each of those issues in their in their intent to construct application. If the planning board feels that anything is deficient, you can deny. If you feel like it's adequately addressed, you can approve.
We don't have
Can we table?
the opportunity to allow the applicant to supplement their application so that the planning board can review it against the rules that are in place and make a decision. I would make a motion that we table our discussion of this to the next planning board meeting and give the applicant time after, of course, we need to go through and tell the applicant, provide the applicant in writing what the planning board believes is deficient. Not just Tom King. Do we agree there's any deficiencies, or don't?
Before you make that motion,
Sure.
Tom, and we got this motion that.
Yes.
Yes, we have a, we do, we have a motion to
Hadn't
deny.
been seconded.
Okay, all right.
And we can't table a motion that ain't. So we got to have a formal motion and a second before we can have a motion to table.
So So to what you're suggesting, Tom, would be for us to provide, if this motion is approved, what those deficiencies we feel like are.
The planning board
the
feels
planning
that there
board.
are.
And that would be subject to our discussions tonight, so Mr. Philby could then go from achieving whatever we're looking to.
And we need to give him that, put that in writing. So
Absolutely,
he's-
yes, yeah, but as far as what we would do tonight would be subject to those deficiencies that we consider, and Matthew would submit that to Mr. Philby then in writing to be able to go and address.
Can you, yeah.
Based on that understanding, I will second that motion, that we turn down the permit. Andrew Vine's position.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to deny the permit.
Do we want to finish going through this just
Yeah.
You do the discussion if you want to.
yeah, just to make sure we know exactly what in here so let you. Sure, go ahead. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so now we'll continue the discussion part.
So,
We need to take a break.
I have some question about the traffic impact analysis in paragraph F, about what that's saying and what the applicant is supposed to be demonstrating. I know we have a email from Mr. Patton with DOT about a driveway permit application. But I don't know if this particular paragraph has been addressed.
Yeah, so
Regarding,
Mr. Patton's email says in the second sentence, we've reviewed the project and a traffic impact analysis was not required based on the anticipated daily trips once the landfill is fully operational.
but it says the all industries regulated by the section shall be required to demonstrate if their proposed heavy industrial use would create an amount of traffic that would push the roads by which the industry is gaining access over its practical carrying capacity.
So did they demonstrate that to us, or did
Has
they?
DOT said that, or did they just say a TIA isn't required?
Yeah, all we have from NCDOT is that email.
Yeah.
They haven't specifically said if the analysis pushes it over that carrying
This
capacity.
seems like the applicant's responsible for providing this information. Then, and if they will exceed the carrying capacity of the roads, providing access to the property over the practical carrying capacity, then the applicant shall provide a traffic impact analysis.
The NCDOT dictates whether the TIA is necessary. We, as the applicant, will respond and either conduct a traffic impact analysis or not, based on DOT dictating whether it's necessary or not. They have in-house traffic impact analysis that will allow them to assess and decide if one is necessary or not. So those are the guidelines that we go on. We're basically following the directives of DOT.
So can you provide a certification that the road serving it will not push the roads by which the industry is gaining access over its practical carrying capacity as defined by NCDOT? Can you provide that?
No, I cannot. I haven't conducted a traffic impact analysis, nor was it required, and so I certainly wouldn't accept the liability of providing that. Although I can tell you, based on their definition of overloading the carry capacity of the road, the problem is not the carrying capacity of the road, it is the width of the road, and it is the curves in the road, and it's the ability to handle that particular size traffic, which has nothing to do with what they're gonna give you in terms of bearing capacity, average daily load on the road.
But
You
the
understand?
ordinance says the all industries regulated by the section should be required to demonstrate this.
Well, typically,
Then-
and our
then-
instructions from the planning
then-
board were to
then if you're
get
gonna
a letter from
exceed-
DOT that address that.
The first part.
It's their road.
Well,
Has-
trying to help, but
has-
let's
You are
keep
helping.
going.
You are helping.
Let's keep
Has
digging.
any number of loads been presented, what the prospective load is going to be into that landfill?
We have not seen any specifications on the load with regards to carrying
What he's
capacity and
saying,
traffic.
is
We
that there's
defer.
supposed to be?
In every case, we defer to the engineers at
Ain't there
NCDOT
supposed
to make those
be-
types of analyses.
You know more about that.
Sir.
Ain't there supposed to be a estimate of how many loads is gonna come in to that landfill a day? According to the ordinance.
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily saying that, but it's saying
Well,
that the applicant is supposed to demonstrate if their use would create an amount of traffic and vehicle trips per day that would push the roads
That's what I'm saying, vehicles.
over its
We
practical
don't know
carrying
what that's
capacity.
That's not been presented to us.
So the question is, have they demonstrated it?
Yeah.
Would they need to demonstrate it by submitting additional analysis, or would they need to demonstrate it by submitting information to NCDOT and then NCDOT gives us their analysis?
When the media, you can tell me here, when media, presented their case before the county, they told about approximately how many loads a day was gonna come in and out of that facility a day.
When who did what?
Meridian.
Meridian, yeah.
When, you know, they presented to the county commissioners how many loads that they projected being in and out of there a day.
On average.
On average, yeah, on average. I mean, I'm not saying, you know, you can't say I'm gonna get 20
Which is
today.
easier because they have a client, they have a list.
Yeah, they have their client list, and they already had established, pickup points around the state, and actually some of them up in Virginia, if I recall correctly. They had these points where stuff would be dropped off, put in containers, and brought into the county, so. And if you, I don't know anything about the proposed one, but if you go out to Meridian right now, you can go out there and, back in October, they had a, pumpkin fest. They were having hay rides on the property, on some of the landfill areas, so, and they're taking good care of theirs, so.
Go ahead, Tom.
Okay, so I don't know that the second paragraph for traffic impact analysis, I don't know if we've been given enough information to even see if that seems to be met. We do have information from DOT that they wouldn't require traffic impact analysis. But no, this is why. Nothing to help us out there.
So just in terms of the procedure and where we're at right now, we've got a motion and a second. Are we listing certain deficiencies with the
Yes.
application?
Yes, sir.
It says that, let me make sure I get caught. So we talked about the temporary sediment basins. Yeah, I had a question. You know, there was no detail for the lighting fixtures provided, about any signage. That's from the checklist.
There's it's kind of buried within the site plan.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
if you see,
I see the lights, but no, what do the fixtures look like? You know, what type of fixtures being used?
Yeah.
I know they're gonna be 16 feet tall, I think, so the pedestrian level, you know, it's not gonna be pole lights throwing off a lot of light, so that's not such a big concern. One of the property owners appear to have a 30-foot access easement over the road being used for access.
One of the property owners, you
Yeah,
say?
the
Over the road that's just being proposed?
Yeah, it's in deed book 298, page 349. That's just a neither here nor there. Since the access road crosses another property owned by the same owner, should the requested permit also cover that tract too? Because that's part of the operation. I thought that was something to consider. See, there was something about vegetation. What was that? Also noticed that the plan says that the existing 50-foot landscape buffer, existing vegetation meets or exceeds the requirements and/or intent of the county ordinance. But the erosion control plan sheet shows that adjacent to the Nickerton property, that a temporary sediment basin will be there'd be an area cleared in there. So existing vegetation isn't gonna remain there. So what's gonna be planted back? So we don't have any kind of plan to show what kind of vegetated screening is gonna be put in place once the temporary sediment basin is taken out of operation.
Mm-hmm. So a plan to replant once the temporary sediment basin is,
In that particular area. There's a, let's see. There's been nothing to say if there are any wetlands or woody swamp on the property. I know there's an existing pond that's in the
what section are you looking at?
operations area. This is paragraph G, operations area. Just no information on that. We did receive something about wildlife habitat.
Mm-hmm.
Stream setbacks. All industries shall be required to maintain a minimum stream setback from any perennial or imminent stream. They should be, okay. It looks like they've provided the 100-foot stream buffer. They're not in the 100-year floodplain. They do have some riprap. I assume that temporary sediment basin number 2, an outfall is to the low spot there, that'll be taken out of the stream buffer. There's the landscaping and screening, so I think I've already talked about that with temporary sediment basin number 1, that clearing area. We've got gating and fencing. They're proposing a 6-foot high.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. 6-foot fence, post spaced 25 feet, high tensile electrified wire, standing every 8 vertical inches around the area of operations.
Mm-hmm.
Lighting, we're
And
encouraging dark sky.
and a
but
gate
not
here.
requiring it.
Yep.
And compliance with other governmental requirements. Mr. Wilson says they have a copy of an approved erosion control plan and a permit. We need to see that.
We sent it to John.
Yeah, they sent that earlier today.
Okay, we didn't see that, so. Some things we're just getting this evening or learning about this evening, so. So they've got a permit.
Yep. Right here.
So those are my items that I feel like we need a little more information before we recommend approval or do some type of recommendation to deny.
Did you write all that down, Matthew?
Could you repeat it back?
Yeah. So I have 3 primary points based on everything we went over. The denial or the recommendation for improvement, I guess you might say, would be an improper traffic impact analysis based on the particular reading of subsection F there.
Improper is a harsh word. I'm just saying
Incomplete.
that second paragraph
What page is that?
needs some, page 65.
Thank you. Hold on, read that.
Maybe some follow-up with DOT.
Yeah.
Maybe in regard to that paragraph. I don't claim to know everything about this, but I know the existence and the generals.
Any determination of classified wetlands or woody
By the-
swamps by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers
Engineers.
under subsection G, operations area. And
Look,
then,
I tried to find that and had trouble.
and then a plan to replant
Replant the
within the
clear
buffer
area.
once the temporary sediment basin is abandoned.
Yes. And the compliance with other governmental requirements, the
And I looked at that too. It specifically says prior to the issuance of an operations permit. So seemingly they would get through the intent to construct permit, then we have the discretion to request documentation from the other governmental agencies prior to issuing or denying the operations permit.
yeah, well, DOT issued the driveway permit.
Right.
The fact that DEQ has issued a permit and allowed them to go to town bothers me. That's not the way it's supposed to work,
What
but
about the part you brought up earlier about the notification? Do you think that that's within the right
well, the
guidelines and stuff or not?
assistant county attorney has said that
It is in.
that's
That was in, that was
that
wrong.
we're right.
It's okay, yeah,
Okay.
because we can
Just
follow
wanted to-
the more restrictive, is what we'll follow.
I guess there was the outstanding question of if that has constituted construction activities on site.
Based on our ordinance, I believe it has.
This would be 6.5.4B, that construction activities have commenced prior to the issuance of the intent to construct permit. You want me to add that to the list?
How do they remedy that?
Cease
The horse is
construction,
out of the gate
cease
on that.
construction activities? I mean,
That-
if there's a way to demonstrate that they've ceased
Just
construction
that
activities.
Until the permit's, correct, yeah, yep, cease activity until the decision's made on the intent to construct permit.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Is there any kind of permit required to upgrade or maintain an existing road going to the property?
Not in this case. The,
So
the
how is it
the
not-
traffic impact analysis and the NCDOT driveway permit are required.
The road going back to the place,
Hmm.
it was in place before he bought the property. So by him upgrading the drainage ditches
Mhm.
and grading the road out better, that doesn't require a permit, right?
That road.
Depends on how much,
How much land is
depends on how much land you're disturbing, but that would be a county permit, that'd be a state permit.
But at the time, it was a farm road, right? That does not require any kind of permit. Right?
So you're talking about the internal road back to the area of operations or Platte Mill Road?
The internal road.
Right, yes, I don't think there's any issue with the internal road.
Is it technically private?
Well, that's.
It's basically a driveway.
Well, that's
It's
where
not
the
a-
construction has been to clean the ditches out.
Right.
It's diverting the water from the road, so.
But sir, that road that you're talking about that's going into this landfill,
Yes, ma'am.
you have widened it.
No, ma'am, the road,
You have, and the entrance to it is definitely wider, and it has been put concrete on it.
okay.
And it does not
That,
have.
that is his personal driveway.
And it is used for the trucks,
But it's
because I've
also,
seen
it's
them
also
go
two
in there.
personal driveways.
So it is a private drive?
So
Yes.
it is
Oh, it's a
also,
private, well, this says that you cannot access the land, any of these activities off of private
it's
property.
also going
I
into
don't
the
understand.
landfill.
That's clear in.
Okay,
I've seen the trucks go in
if
there.
y'all wanna
It
get
says-
together and have a confab, that's all right with us.
No, well, if you're going through the ordinance check by check, it says they cannot be accessed.
It's a
on-
driveway that connects to the public road. It's not its own private road.
Oh, well, it says private drive, so it sounds like a private drive.
So,
It-
Matthew, if you could just, you may have already mentioned this earlier, but it's been a long time, so I want to make
Yeah.
sure I understand here. So in the event that there is a vote to deny, and we give this list of things to Mr. Philippi to then,
To remedy.
to remedy, then he would come back to the plaintiff.
Yeah, I would assume so. The ordinance is, as we have explored, not particularly clear about. It seems to indicate, pass or fail. And I would assume, I think that there is discretion, the board might have discretion to say, let's table this and let's allow the applicant to address deficiencies and come back. If it's denied, I would assume the applicant could address deficiencies and come back. Yeah,
Because either table or deny, it all leads to the same path. yeah, basically.
possibly. I mean, it's up to the applicant, right? I
Well,
mean,
exactly.
again, he could say, you know what, I'm tired of dealing with this and I'm done.
If we denied, then he would have to come back and reapply.
That would be my understanding. There wouldn't be
If it was
anything that would
denied, he'd
prevent
have to
him
come
from
back and
reapplying.
And you're saying, according, that, do we have the authority to table this? Do we have to, was my understanding, we had to make a vote, a yes or no vote on this. Is Is that so?
You-
Can we table it?
You
Is
can
it?
table the discussion and continue it. You need to let, everyone know what the next time will be, if it's gonna be at the next meeting or if you're setting a special meeting. So if you're just moving it to the next meeting, you just need to announce that so that everyone's aware and then it doesn't have to be reposted.
And that will be subject to Mr. Phillippe's decision with what he wants to do going forward from this meeting. If we table it and we have this list of things we're looking to do.
Yes.
So he would need to also comply within whatever time period we announce that we're gonna have the next meeting, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
you're gonna consider whatever's in front of you at that next meeting,
Okay.
be it more information or nothing in addition.
And if he's not prepared at that point to have all this together, we just table again to the next meeting, or what happens at that point if he doesn't have all his ducks in a row, at the meeting that this would be tabled to, and again, we do that?
I don't know that there's anything to prevent him from the matter being continued,
Okay.
or continued off the next, meeting, if say, I'm waiting on a DOT analysis and it's not ready, or something of that nature that
Okay.
came
If
before
we
you.
table it from
that
this
you
meeting,
could-
it has to be brought up in the next meeting.
It has to be brought up and,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what, I mean,
but-
it's tabled this meeting, it has to be brought up in the next meeting.
But at the next meeting, event that he's waiting on a study or something, he has not received yet, then at that point, it
Can we-
would just
we-
be
You saying
continued.
we could table it even further?
Yes, he could have, I think it would be appropriate for you to consider continuance of it at that point.
Just for the board's knowledge, based on state law now, even if it were denied, there is no waiting period or anything. They could come right back and reapply again.
And reapply?
Some,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
some development approvals, you just have to wait a year before you could reapply.
But
We don't even have that, so it's.
But
it doesn't
presumably the
seem-
process would start all over again.
Yeah.
They would have to renotice a new
Yeah,
public
you'd
hearing.
renotice and do all of that, and just go back through a hearing and.
If it's tabled, then he wouldn't have to go through all those initial steps. It
Right,
would-
it's
it would
merely,
just-
it's merely a continuance
it would
rather
just
than
be
an outright
continuance,
denial.
And, which will allow him to then, try to meet the objectives that are being listed.
Right.
Yes.
Do you want a question on the motion there, and then make a re-motion? Can I rescind it without him? Then he's got proof, because he's saying. Okay,
You're okay to change it, Henry?
all right, I'll rescind my motion then. Make-
Now that we got that out of the way.
And then we'll make a motion.
Hold on, Henry.
So that everybody's clear, now our next meeting's gonna be in December, but it's gonna be in a restaurant, we're gonna call it a Christmas party. So the official next meeting gonna be the second Thursday in January of next year,
January the 8th, 7 o'clock in this room.
in this very room. Now, when you talk about next year and all like that, seems like an eternity away. But when you get old as I am, that ain't much. Do you understand what they're asking for here? Me? Yeah. Yeah. Can you get it together by January?
I mean, I'm still clueless on what we're asking for here. I haven't been able to
I'm
hear.
just
So, yeah.
Question.
What are they asking for?
Can I summarize the comments
Yeah.
based on the analysis? Okay. So the further clarification would come from the traffic impact analysis with regards to demonstrating the vehicle trips per day, the carrying capacity as defined. That's in subsection F of the ordinance.
You will be emailing this to us?
Yes, I will get this to you in writing. Yes, sir. There's also a question of the vegetative buffer that will reappear and be replanted once the temporary sediment basin on, I guess you could call it
Can we see that plan?
the eastern border of the property. This temporary sediment basin is no longer temporary. So the question would be
Well, when it's removed.
when it's removed.
Well,
When it's-
again, this vegetation per 100 linear feet is still gonna comply.
Right, so we just need the,
So, I mean, there's a gap there, but we still have enough vegetation
so
to
we'll just
comply
need
with
the
100 per 100
specifications
linear
on that plan. Yes, sir.
feet. Okay.
To identify if there are any classified wetlands per the Army Corps of Engineer, that's subsection G under operations area.
That's a question I need to ask you about because
Okay.
Do we have to have, do we have to have a specialist go out,
So
research it,
probably
and
what
then
we
have
need,
the Corps of
probably what we
Engineers?
need, any conversation we have will need to be in writing after I get you this specific motion in writing.
Okay, so a traffic impact analysis is probably gonna take, if we have to have a traffic impact analysis, do we need further clarification from DOT that we do not? Which one is it? Because the impact analysis is gonna take 2 months. And then if we have to have the Corps of Engineers, we don't know when they're gonna actually meet a schedule and come out and look at the site after we've
Right.
identified any potential wetlands or said there were none from
So-
a specialist. So if you're asking me what kind of time frames, I need to know what the question is.
I understand.
Okay.
And so I don't think there's any issue if, in that scenario, as Michelle said, if we need to continue even further, then that can be done.
I mean, the first question is a traffic impact analysis required, or do you need further clarification?
So it seems
from
that
DOT?
the burden of proof of the traffic impact analysis is on the developer, not necessarily on NCDOT. You have to use NCDOT's metrics, but the burden of proof is on the developer.
Per the ordinance?
Per the ordinance, yes, sir.
Okay.
And then finally, to cease technical construction operations until the intent to construct permit is issued.
What is that, what is construction operations?
So that is, as we looked at, defined in the ordinance. It's gonna take me a while to get there, but it's.
So is that cease clearing and grubbing as well? That's even already, it's just cease all
That's
construction operations?
anything related on the property.
Okay.
And I can send you that definition from the ordinance.
What about the already issued permit?
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
We'll talk soon.
Yes, sir.
What we got here, Rodney?
Okay. So,
So again, I will condense those comments to writing and convey them to the developer, pending your motion to transmit that to the developer and then continue this issue until the January 8th meeting.
I'll make a motion that we do that.
so we've got a motion to, need a second.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to move this to the January meeting. We just continue. All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Okay. We got that taken care of. Now,
What's the date and time again? I'm sorry.
January 9th at 7 o'clock in this room. Is it the 8th? Did I say the 8th?
Second Thursday.
Second Thursday, that'll be the 8th. I'm sorry, it will be the 8th.
And then next,
we got to hear from him, decide what we're gonna do with this. And then, but before that, we got to decide if we want to just move all the UDOs to January.
I'll make that motion.
Here, let me hear it, lady.
Okay, I'll make a motion to move all the UDO stuff to the next, meeting in January.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to amend the agenda again. That's moving all the UDO discussion to January. All in favor, aye? Aye. Okay, opposed?
Aye.
All right, good. Now, we've got, applicant for the planning board. Do you in fact still want this?
I might give you mine.
That's a wonderful question, but yes, I'd like to, well, please come up here and.
Mr. Chairman, let me just make a quick statement if I may. So, we've got one expiring term currently on the planning board. Mr. Vines' term will be expiring at the end of December. And the planning board is unique in that they review and make a recommendation of applicants to the commissioners. That is not a binding recommendation. The commissioners may appoint whoever they like, but you can review and make a
Now, we're
recommendation.
not through with our meeting. Thank you.
So, I've got a list of candidates for your consideration. These are in no particular order other than when they were chronologically received. Natalie Thacker, Jeffrey Michael Stevens. Do you have a gavel up there?
Can we ask y'all to step outside so we can finish our meeting, please?
Natalie Thacker, Jeffrey Stevens, thank you, Brandon Martin, Max Morgan, Jeff Thronberg, Jonna Burkett, Baker Lee, Kimry,
Thanks.
and Henry Vines. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chair. Board, I'm Lee Kimmery. I live at 1751 Green Gable Trail in Elon, which I believe is Boone Station Township. I have served on a municipal planning board in the past. I am a builder in the area and have been for quite some time. Just wanted to introduce myself and answer any questions that you may have for me.
Thank you for your patience and what it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Where's the gavel?
And serving on the municipal planning board, I'm very familiar with zoning, land use,
Which municipality?
City of Grant. So, I'll try to answer any questions you may have.
Okay.
Well,
And I just want to say too, I understand that there is a current board member that's looking for reappointment. I do appreciate that. Anyone willing to put forth the effort, I certainly don't want to stand in the way of a reappointment. I simply wanted to come here today, introduce myself, so that in the future, if an opportunity presents itself, perhaps this board would consider me for recommendation. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure, I'll come. How y'all doing tonight?
How about you?
Doing well.
Thank you for being patient too as well.
Yes, sir. It was a great meeting tonight, guys. Hey, y'all held out and y'all didn't give up and say, let's go home. We got guns. You got some movies to watch at home, don't you?
oh, yeah.
Yeah, you missing out, man.
I'm gonna go home, smoke a pickle.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm Max Morgan. I'm a local land developer in Alamance County, and I come to a lot of your meetings, and I have a lot of knowledge of the UDO and how the planning board goes, and I would like to be on your board if you have any questions. Henry? That was a little entertaining tonight for you. Yeah, you had a little action, man.
Just wait.
Just waiting.
Thank you for the fact that you come to meetings and you consistently apply to, so thank you.
I do. Thank you.
And I'd just add, be careful what you ask for.
Yeah.
I didn't ask
Could be you in the hot seat.
He wants it.
Kinda like praying for a sister, huh?
You want to say that?
Well, board, it's been my privilege to serve on this board, you know, and, I would like the opportunity to continue on this board, because I think there's still a whole lot of work that needs to be done, and, I know a lot of what's went on over the past 35 years. I know what's been going on in planning and on about the issue of zoning. I have been an opponent for zoning in this county for those 35 years. It started out with just farmers, and it was us, you know, just wanting some kind of security to protect us against lawsuits and stuff. Because back in those days, we were getting hard. I understand this deal where people move in on you and want you to move out. And this whole deal tonight is a full representation of why we need some kind of land planning in this county. Is because not only do we need some kind of form to protect the citizens in their rights, we need some kind of form of protection for industry or landfills, you know, so that they have the protection as well. Our county just recently purchased over 382 acres, is that correct?
I actually think the total was about 400.
Yeah, at one price of property was 382,
Yeah.
over 400 acres of land. And one of the purposes that was presented, of course, it was, you know, the Hall River Trail and stuff too, but one of the purposes was to protect the landfill from development. So if we see that we need the potential to protect citizens in that realm, I don't understand why we don't see the potential of protecting the everyday citizen out here. It's just one individual.
I think that was the main missing piece to the mountain to the trail park too.
Yeah.
Or-
It was at no expense to the county because that money came from, from the already trail.
Provide lots of recreational opportunities for the county too, a lot of potential areas.
Right. Yes, it'd be my honor and privilege to serve on this board for a long term. That's all I've got to say.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'd
Yes,
like to make a motion to reappoint Henry Vines to another term.
Second.
So we got a motion and a second for Henry Vines. All in favor, aye? Opposed?
You two gentlemen, please reapply, because there will be other seats opening up, and I appreciate your willingness to serve, so please do.
Thank you. And your application's held for 2 years.
Okay.
Correct. And these applications might get up to the commissioners, and they say they really don't like Henry. So your your candidacy is still technically.
I'm working on that.
I mean, if he shows up, if he shows up and
That's not gonna help him out a whole lot, man.
if he shows up and recounts the pig slaughtering story from Stinking Creek or whatever, he might Stinking Corner Creek. He
By
might.
the way, if he were to win election, he wouldn't be on the planning board.
That's right.
That'd make a face for somebody, would it?
That's right.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make one more motion, please.
Okay.
Make a motion we adjourn.
Well, before you do that, just so we're all clear, next month, the December meeting, I think falls on the 11th, is at Mexham, the Mexican restaurant up here. That'll be the Christmas party, the Historic Properties Commission. And I'll get this to Matthew so he can send out an electronic correspondence to everybody.
Okay.
And hopefully we can get a head count early in that week and tell them how many to expect. And hopefully with a little bit of heads up, we'll have a better turnout than we did last time. But anyhow.
I'll piggyback off that announcement too to say that we will not be discussing any official business at this social gathering. It will be merely social.
We didn't discuss none last year, did we?
I don't think so.
Not
officially.
State law specifically says we cannot meet, a majority cannot get together to discuss official business. So we're going to be talking about Christmas gifts and tacos.
So ain't you got a motion in a second?
You got a motion on the floor, I believe.
Ain't you got a motion in a second?
Yeah, motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, aye? Opposed? Okay. Thank you.
Oh, okay.